Now, once upon a time in professional wrestling, it used to matter what the fans thought.
For example, all you parents out there with kids, when your kids misbehave, you give the New Day a call. The New Day comes over to your house, and we will fight your children.
Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of wrestling sucks, but when it's good, it's fucking great. Wrestling is melodrama. Wrestling is mythology. Wrestling is action. Wrestling is comic books. The only thing wrestling isn't is wrestling.
Who wants to take back professional wrestling?
But it blows my mind that he stands out here and he runs his mouth and he's talking about y'all boo him because y'all want him to be a bad guy? They boo you because, first of all, you suck.
Hey, according to them, so does he, but that's okay. He won a gold medal.
Just shut up for a while. How about that? And second of all,
go ahead, find it. Go ahead. Oh, wait. It's called a promo,
Shut
kid,
your
and
mouth,
if you want to
John.
be the big dog, you're going to have to learn how to do it, so go ahead. See ya, fourth wall.
you are a sniveling little suck-up sellout full of suffering succotash, son. Yeah, I know. That was not easy to say.
Welcome to Around the Ring, episode 111. I am one half of your host, Silky Dave Brown, joined with, as always, by our Floyd and Savior, Floyd Johnson Jr. How you doing this morning, sir?
I'm have mixed emotions. You know, every week I generally say great, but this morning I can't say I'm in the best mood. Your Floyd and Savior is probably one of the more positive people in this world, but this week, it's kind of hard to be positive. It's been a struggle.
Okay. Why has it been a struggle, sir?
All right, so as some of you may know, I don't talk about it a lot. I am a die-hard Florida State fan. Yes, wrestling fans can love real sports also. Well, in my die-hard nature, I go across the country to go across the country to see wrestling. I go across the country to see football games. Well, Florida State was playing the legendary Alabama football program this week. So I made the 12-and-a-half-hour drive from Oklahoma City to Atlanta to watch my Noles play. Well, the week started off rough, and I honestly, if you believe in signs and things like that, I kind of could tell what was going to happen last night was going to happen. First of all, I went to rent my car. Well, as anyone that may have rented a car knows, you have to generally have a credit card. It's a lot more difficult with a debit card. So the day before I go rent a car, I made a payment, paid off my credit card, and I was ready to go. Well, I get to pick up the car, and my money has not posted to my credit card. Right?
Oh no!
So that's the first shot. So I tried to use a debit card. So I'm working with this guy, and I'm not going to say his name, and I'm not going to say the company because I choose not to disparage. But if I ever decide to disparage, I will. Well, I went to use the card, and it didn't work. And I was like, okay, I understood it might not work. Debit cards don't generally work. I didn't plan on using a debit card. So with the confirmation number in hand, I asked him. I said, hey, I didn't plan on it. I planned on being gone, but I will come back when you open tomorrow, get the money time to post to my account and pick up the car. I have the confirmation number. You have the car. Everything's already there. You have the keys out, so you planned on giving me the car. So he tells me, well, no, I'm going to be really busy tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to have the car. I was like, okay, hold on. I want you to take the same car that you're about to give me, that you were going to reserve for me, that you had promised to me. Keep it until tomorrow when my card can post and I can use my credit card. He's like, well, your card won't work tomorrow. I was like, I'm not going to use the same card. I'm going to use the credit card that I used on every other transaction with the company. Well, I'm not gonna drum this out. It didn't work out. He was not understanding me, and it was one of those deer in headlight looks. So I was like, I feel like this is an easy concept. This same card that you promised me, that you reserved for me, take the keys, put them in a drawer or whatever, and then in the morning I'll leave my ID, credit card, whatever you need, and I'll come back and get the car. And he's like, no, we're going to be really busy tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to have the car. I was like, and he was the manager of the location. He was not the assistant. He was not the desk. He was the manager. He ran that location. And this simple concept I was running about him, he could have said he couldn't do it. He could have flat out said, you know what, we got a policy, that we don't reserve, we won't save that information for you. You aren't not able to pick it up today. You have to try again tomorrow. He could have said any of that. But the fact of the matter is, he didn't even understand what I was asking him. And that hurt my head. So, you know what? I don't know how hard it is to work at a rental car company. I don't. But I wasn't angry, but that was one of the most frustrating experiences. So, you know what? I'm a soldier. By that I mean I adapt to the situation. So I'm going to get my car fixed. So I go get my oil changed, and I have them check the tires, fill up the air, all that stuff. I'm going to drive my own car because I'm a problem solver. So the next day, we get on the road and drive the car. So I feel like I'm a pretty experienced traveler. A lot of the bad things don't happen to me. I know how to do my thing. Well, I booked my hotel. And I don't mind saying the name of this company, Days Inn, in Atlanta. I am a Wyndham Rewards member. I'm all about the Days Inn. By the reason I choose Days Inn is they're consistently average. You don't get a lot of surprises with Days Inn. You get a bed, you get a breakfast. I'm in and out. I don't spend a lot of time in my hotel room either, so I'm not looking for something really nice. It serves my purpose, especially for someone who travels a lot and just can't afford to spend a lot a night. You can generally get good deals, $55 a night, $89 a night. It's a choice. I choose to be in average hotels. Well, so we make the long trip to Atlanta. We were making good time until we got to Birmingham, and then the 200 miles it took from Birmingham, which generally would take me about 2 hours and 15 minutes, took about 3.5 hours because of traffic. Okay, I understand. It's Friday night, 2 major cities. You're going from Birmingham to Atlanta. I get it. You're going to run into traffic. Again, I can shake that kind of stuff off. Well, then we get here. We get to our hotel. We walk up. First thing I notice, I said to my brother, there's no cars in the hotel parking lot. There's like 3. I'm like, this is weird, but hey, you know what? Maybe the hotel's just not that busy. Maybe it's a gym. Soon as we walk in the door, the guy looks us in our eyes and just starts shaking his head. He's like, I reserved my hotel with the website, and he said to me, hey, we can't book you. The hotel is condemned. Like, you can't. Basically, it's illegal to stay here. Now, if you imagine the size of the hotels, like Days Inn, this is like 2 or 3 buildings, and it's a large area, right?
Yeah.
So for the whole area to be condemned, imagine the problem that might have had to be there.
My God, what was wrong with that building?
I don't know what happened. I don't. It wasn't. It's like, so the whole building to be condemned. You have to imagine something's pretty freaking bad with that place. I don't know the exact thing, and I'm not gonna bother to look it up because it might freak me out about staying at Days Inns. And you know what? Other than that, I mean, I've stayed in, I'd say, 30 different Days Inns, and I've never had a problem with it, right? So I'm not going to take one bad experience and never stay at a Days Inn. Well, the people at Hotels.com, I will say their name because this is a positive. I called them. They was like, what? You know, it was condemned. They called the hotel lobby, and they said, hey, it's condemned. They found me another location. I'm staying in a Quality Inn Suites, and you know it was kind of cool. They had a room. They gave me the This hotel's actually more expensive. It's a bit nicer. They gave me the hotels. Gave me the hotel for the same price that I booked the Days Inn for. So that was good. Again, another crisis averted. Let's keep rolling because you know what? Hey, you know what? You know, stuff happens. If you travel as much as I do, you're going to run into problems every now and then. You just got to be, you know, strong. Well, get through that, and then game day comes. Get to the game, and like I said, bunch of bad signs. Florida State plays a strong first half. They're down 10-7 to Alabama, and if you didn't know, Alabama is the number one team in the country. Florida State was ranked at 3. We get to 10-7. We're only down 3 at halftime. Got a lot of positive feelings. We're hanging with the best team in the country. And the wheels fall off. And we didn't score again the rest of the game. Alabama wins 24-7. I really, really wanted to be upset. But it was my team's fault. They made a lot of mental errors in the second half and lost the game. But even worse, now you want to add the insult to injury. I can handle losing to Alabama. They're the best team in the country. You kind of use them as a measuring stick, right?
Right.
Well, in the fourth quarter, our quarterback either tore his knee or broke his leg, and he's out for the season probably.
Oh.
So we lose to Alabama. I travel 12 hours. We go through all that crap. We lose the game and then lose our quarterback for what we considered a very, very promising season.
Do they have any quarterbacks that are worth it?
I mean, we do have good quarterbacks that are backups, but you know what? If you're a realistic football fan, I mean, there have been times where backup quarterbacks have come in, been a house of fire, and, you know, led the team to the national championship. But come on. That's very few and far between. The more common aspect is your backup quarterback comes in. You're not as good. And you pretty much try to survive the season. So that's kind of what it looks like it's going to be. We're waiting to hear on this knee or leg injury. I'm just gonna say he couldn't put any weight on his leg, so I don't see it as being a short amount of time. So as far as a football weekend, couldn't have got much worse. And as far as the travel weekend, actually, you think about it, it did turn out pretty good because everything kept working out. But the whole aspect of, travel all this way in my car, put the mileage on my car, went through all of this just for pretty much the worst thing happened. But again, I've even said this before, and I wasn't trying to jinx myself when I'm like, if you choose to be a diehard fan and you go to the games where you're playing the toughest teams, you're going to see your team lose. It's just, that's what's going to happen, you know? So, that's my weekend. That is why it is tough for me to say I'm in a great mood today. But I am here for this show. Wrestling and talking about wrestling is a big part of what makes me happy in life. So this will be part of the healing process as I get ready to make this 12.5 hour journey later this morning back to the city I love.
Well, I hope you have safe travels. How is it? So you are in Atlanta, right?
I am in Atlanta.
How is Atlanta? Because the Atlanta airport is this interesting place, but people there are not very nice. How is Atlanta?
Atlanta kind of has. It's funny. It's in the South, but to me, it has, and everybody has the Southern politeness. but it has a New York sensibility. Like everything's hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. You know, they drive like bats out of hell when they ordering. It's like really, really quick. It's like I'm nice, but get out of my face, kind of thing.
And that,
So,
that's exactly the feeling I got from the airport. Except this one dude who was really helpful one time when we were in the airport, but I think he was from like Africa or something because he had a massive accent. But yeah, they're kind of Southern polite, but they're also like, this is the New York of the South, MFers. Let's move. We don't have time to play.
They're all about their efficiency. As far as I went to a new stadium, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. College football was the first college football game in that stadium, and only the second or third game in that stadium. Beautiful stadium. I tell anyone, I hope there's a WrestleMania there because the stadium's beautiful. I was actually in the 300 section because even though I am a booster for Florida State, there are a lot of very rich boosters for Florida State. So I'm in the 300 section, and there wasn't a bad seat in the house. It was beautiful. State of the art, and they called it fan friendly pricing. You could get like the souvenir cups. Drinks usually cost about $8 to $10 wherever you go. They're $4, and they're refillable. They have Coke machines everywhere just to refill it as much as you want. They had $2 hot dogs, $3 fries, $5 hamburgers. I mean, and you know what? And I can honestly say they were smaller portions. But if you just want to snack during the game, it was perfect. I spent about 3 souvenir cups because my friends asked me to bring them back. I bought a program, hamburger and fries, and I spent $30.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a really good place as far as it's very, very friendly on the food. And I can say I understand why, because I would say twice as many people bought food, right? Like generally people, you walk in and you only have $10. You're like, I can't get anything here. I only got $10. Well, you can get a burger, fries, and a drink for $10.
That's awesome.
At a stadium. So it was worth, and they have a fully functional Chick-fil-A. They had guys walking around with the bags of Chick-fil-A sandwiches, and they were I think they were $4, and it was a great experience. They got you in quick. From standing in the line from the time the doors were supposed to open at 6, we were in the building by 6:15. When we left the game at 12:30, had to walk back to our parking spot. But we left about 11:45, and we were back to our hotel about 12:15.
Wow.
So everything was quick. Everything was efficient. Again, it's that New York sensibility in Atlanta. They had people waving. Everyone had different routes because they have so many major highways. Nothing got actually super cluttered, and that experience was positive. And if there's any other events other than football, I will be back at the Mercedes-Benz Dome.
Nice. And that's definitely a better name than some of these other places. Some of these stadiums and arenas are getting some really stupid-ass names.
Well, I can honestly say it was definitely the Mercedes-Benz of stadiums. It was probably... It and Jerry World, I'd say, are even. Some people are like, oh, this is way better than Jerry World. The in and out experience, way better than Jerry World. Of course, the food price is way better than Jerry World. But that screen in Jerry World and the section, and it's just a beautiful stadium. So they're both good for different reasons. I'm hoping every other stadium starts looking to this fan-friendly pricing. Because think about it. If you lower the price of everything, but you sell 3 times the merchandise because it's actually affordable, aren't you still making money?
Yeah, you know their markups that they're getting. Their profit margin on that stuff is ridiculous. And
yeah. I mean, it was a burger for $5. It wasn't like, I feel like it was one of those burgers from Walmart that you microwave or whatever. It wasn't, it's not super quality food, But when you're at a game, you're not trying to have. Most people aren't trying to have a 5-star meal. They're just trying to eat something while they watch the game.
Right. You're not expecting a burger from Five Guys when you're in a stadium. Yeah. No, that does make sense. That would because so like for example, it's not quite a good correlation, but it kind of works. Movie theaters. The prices of concessions in movie theaters are so high because that's where they make the majority of their money. Because ticket sales, something like 90% of the ticket sales actually go to the movie studios. So the theaters themselves barely make anything out from the gate. That's why you walk in and a bottle of water that you could buy at Walmart for $1.50 is $5. That's how they make their money.
That's why I sneak food in.
I don't blame you. Generally,
pretty much, I buy popcorn just because I like my popcorn hot and I like to put a lot of butter on it. But generally, we either bring water or some kind of drink in my girl's bag, and that's how we roll.
Anymore, I actually don't, unless I go somewhere that has soft pretzels and I have some extra cash, which is very rare. But I love me some soft pretzels. Soft pretzels are amazing. The Harkins in Oklahoma City has really good soft pretzels, or at least they did last time I was there. Anyway, I tend to not get snacks or drinks. I don't get drinks because I have the bladder of a squirrel, and I know that I will have to get up and go to the bathroom at some point, so I don't want to miss anything unless I'm seeing Valerian, and then it would have been fine to miss 30, 45 minutes with a bad dump. But that's a whole other story. And if you're going to get food, you generally need something to wash it down with. And I don't have a purse, so maybe I need to be like Jerry Seinfeld and bring my my carry-all. Purse! It's a purse! Oh man! So one real quick before we get into the wrestling talk, my coworker was the other day. It was so funny. He was in such a good mood. He was like manically in a good mood. It was great. But he said, you know what? From now on, I'm calling you Diamond Dave. I was like, what? And so he's like, yeah, you're Diamond Dave Brown. And I thought about it for a second. I'm like, DDB. I kind of like that. So yeah, I'm gonna have to ponder over this. I have to. How about you, our fine listeners? What nickname do you prefer for me? Silky Dave Brown or Diamond Dave Brown? I don't know which. They're both kind of funny. Or maybe I should start doing a gimmick where I have lots of nicknames and I just have to roll through them all. We'll add nicknames as time goes on.
Hey, you know how you got the name Silky? It was actually a listener of ours that said your voice was so smooth that it actually put him to sleep, which cracked me up. And I was like, that's not really a good thing for a podcast, but hey, we can use that.
Yes, so folks, if nothing else, you put on one of our shows and it'll rock you to sleep at night to get you those sweet slumbers and hopefully good dreams.
Well, let's do what we're here for, sir. Let's talk about the week that was in wrestling.
All right. So any overall thoughts before we go into the specific shows?
Overall thoughts, I actually thought it was a good week in wrestling. On my group, the club, we got a lot of comments because it wasn't necessarily, I wouldn't call it controversial week, but there were a lot of surprises. So overall, it was a good week in wrestling. I actually enjoyed both shows, all three shows. Because I definitely count NXT as its own, so I enjoyed all three shows.
Good. Well, let's start with Monday Night Raw.
Let's start. All right, Monday Night Raw. Did you get to watch this week?
I watched the segment because I heard all of the news, and I was like, I have to watch this. And by God, I'm glad I did. Holy Moses! But before we get to that. And I did see a little bit of, I did see the fact that, Sasha Banks cannot defend a title to save her life. So I'm sure we'll get there. Where do you want to start?
I'd say it's like there's 4 spots that we really need to talk about. First off, Jeff Hardy. They started off the show with a battle royal, and that was to decide who fought The Miz for the Intercontinental title. I thought this was genius. Some people didn't like it. They was like, "Oh, well, I know, battle royal," because I need to watch a singles match every week. Well, there was no real contender built up for the Intercontinental title. So to try to make sense of there not being a contender for the Intercontinental title, they did a battle royal. I actually enjoy battle royals, the random battle royal. So you had, it went, and you had Big Show in there, and everybody attacked him. And they had this really fun spot where everybody picked up Kurt Hawkins to start the match and throw him out like he was this big giant dude, and they just didn't like him, so they just threw him out first.
I did see the picture of that Kurt Hawkins posted, and he like posted a picture next to a picture of like Bret Hart being held up in celebration. Yeah. I thought that was pretty funny. So
yeah, he's pretty good at being a jobber. I mean, he's actually very entertaining. He is our version of like the Brooklyn Brawler. But you know what? When you're a jobber in the WWE, you know who your role model is? Jinder Mahal. Because he was doing pretty much losing every match and a comedic figure last year. And this year he's the WWE champion. So sometimes doing what you're told can end up working out for you in the end. I am not in any way saying Curtis Hawkins is going to ever be the WWE champion. But honestly, if Jinder Mahal is, who knows? Kind of thing. I'm like, I am a Jinder fan. Don't get me wrong. I'm not insulting you. But, I mean, we're looking at September, and if you think 3 months ago he was losing to Mojo Rawley. 6 months ago he was losing to Mojo Rawley. Like, pretty normally. Mojo Rawley's barely on TV, and he's the WWE champion. So, sometimes doing what you're told works out.
True that.
And the funniest part, and honestly, I wouldn't even notice, Jeff Hardy does win the Battle Royal, which was a bit of a surprise because he's been pretty much exclusively a tag team wrestler. But they gave us a shock, and I love a shock. I didn't guess who was going to win. Once it got down to the last 3, you got 3, 1 in 3 chance, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, Jeff Hardy's going to win." Well, if it took you that long to figure it out, that's a good show to me. Because you got down to, it was a 20-man Battle Royal, got down to 3 before you gave me the good old guess.
Who were the final 3?
Huh?
Who were the final 3?
God, if I know. I honestly, that was Monday.
Fair enough.
It was Jason Jordan, Jeff Hardy, and Finn Balor. No, Finn got threw out by Bray. I don't remember who the third person was. I would imagine it was a heel because Jason Jordan threw him out, and then Jeff Hardy threw Jason Jordan out right after.
Oh, okay. So they actually had a bunch of main event level guys in there too.
Yeah, Finn Balor was in there. It was like pretty much, they are going with the Universal title is the attraction belt, and the Intercontinental title is the workers belt. They are really going with that aspect of it.
Kind of like what they're doing with the U.S. title on SmackDown.
Oh yeah. It's definitely the formula that they were sticking with.
Well, good.
So Jeff Hardy wins, and you can barely tell. He completely no-sells the win. It was like no one told him he was going to win. Because he's raising his hand, and he just has this blank expression on his face.
Oh, man, Jeff.
So people on the show, the club was pointing that out, and I'm like, wow, I rewind it, and I just laughed my ass off. Because, it was like, because, Matt does all the booking for their tag team matches. And it was like someone forgot to tell Jeff Hardy who was going to win.
Well, didn't he notice at some point that, wait, the ring's a lot emptier. I just threw this guy out.
Yeah. I'm just like, he completely no-sold it. It was like, I want another one of these. Yay. And you got to think about it. Everyone has bad days at work. And I wouldn't call it a bad day. It's just like, oh, you went in the Battle Royal tomorrow next week. They might have already told him what the result of next week was going to be because, like I said, he didn't seem very excited. To even add to the fact that might not have, that people noticed, they then shot a backstage segment on Raw, and he's like, man, I'm really excited. And he oversold being excited for the Battle Royal. So you know someone told him, hey, you know.
Oh, that's fantastic.
You didn't just get a flat tire. You actually won a match. So you probably should act like it.
That's fantastic.
All right. And so that was the interesting part. Second part I wanted to talk about before we get to the big... Actually, we'll talk about the main event and then go back to the big thing because we probably have a little while to speak about that. Was Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman shows up. You know, I don't know how many... I know Brock has way more appearances this year, but it feels like he's been on the show pretty consistently. Paul Heyman comes out and cuts a promo. And I would have called it the best promo of the night, but yeah, he was actually top tonight. And he cuts a promo on Braun Strowman, and he says, I don't believe in monsters, but I believe Braun Strowman is one. And it was just like one of those lines, you know, one of those pure 100% Paul Heyman lines that in one line, he sold how destructive Braun Strowman is. And even in a more aspect is after he, as he's going on, Brock Lesnar actually takes the mic from Paul Heyman and says, Suplex City, bitch. And it was one of those moments because if you watched the last year wrestling, Brock Lesnar very rarely addresses his opponent. Paul Heyman does the talking. Brock Lesnar kind of does his left to right bounce thing, and then he'll smile when Paul Heyman says something he likes. And then when Paul Heyman says something serious, he'll make a serious face. It's kind of funny because he's selling the Paul Heyman's promo the whole time. Is he just doing it with facial expressions? The fact that Braun Strowman commands the respect of Brock Lesnar to actually speak, that adds so much more to that rivalry. And that we didn't even get Braun Strowman, but Braun Strowman got more over not being there and just letting Paul Heyman do his thing than he ever would have.
You know, it cracks me up. I think Brock Lesnar has one of the easiest jobs in WWE. I mean, yeah, he works out. I'm not sure how much he works out because whenever he's getting ready for a UFC fight, he seems a lot more cut. Like he cares more.
He has to be under 265 for UFC fights.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, because he comes out, you know, he walks around the ring, he does his bouncy thing, and then he just stands there and, like you said, he does his facial expressions, and then every once in a while he gets a little physical, and then he goes home. I mean, it's hilarious. It works, but
make them stay there all day for TV.
Oh, yeah.
Big Show says he hates TV because he has to be there 12 hours. He talks to the writers for about 30 minutes. He goes out and works 5 minutes, and then he's been there all day.
Yeah, that's got to be a pain. I'm sure. I doubt, though, they make Lesnar be there all day. I'm sure he rolls in probably 30 minutes, maybe an hour before his scene. And unless he is going to be there, unless he has a second appearance or is going to be there multiple times in the night, as soon as he's done, he's out.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Paul Heyman does a lot of the talking as far as what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, so I thought that was pretty interesting. Paul Heyman is a genius. And then for a few times, we're going to skip to the main event, which we had Alexa Bliss versus Sasha Banks. And Alexa Bliss actually cut a promo basically telling Sasha Banks she can't defend the title. So honestly, we're in LA where Sasha Banks has had some of her more impressive wins. You know, her biggest wins have been against Charlotte. We're in LA. It was a big deal. And again, every time they're in LA, the women main event a show, which I guess that's a good... LA is a progressive state and everything, so I guess that's a good idea. Every time they're in LA, the women main event show. So me being the wrestling guru that I am, I feel like I'm more like a ESPN guy. I mean, like I feel like I know everything, but I'm really only right like 50% of the time. I knew Sasha Banks was going to win this match. I mean, she was going to absolutely win this match. That's why they were talking about it. They were building it up for her to win. And Alexa wins with a clean victory. I mean, pretty clean. I mean, she cheated a little bit, but other than that, there was no outside interference or anything. As far as a heel, it's a clean victory. She won with a straight DDT, and she takes the title back. What do you think about that? The fact that...
I think they never should have changed the title in the first place. I mean, I know this title has been an absolute hot potato. That's part of the deal with this title is since it's been the women's championship, going from the Divas Championship to the women's championship, it has bounced around like no one's business. And I guess that's fine. I would like to see some longer, more dominant title reigns. I think at least at first, when Becky was the SmackDown champion, women's champion, it was much better when she had it for a long, long time. But I mean, I think Alexa winning clean is the right way to go. I think I think Sasha needs to get away from the title picture for a very long time. She needs to lose her mind, and as soon as old Bayley comes back, I think Sasha should be off TV for a few weeks. Bayley should come back, and Sasha should be all super grumpy. Bayley should be trying to console her. Sasha loses her mind. They have some tag team match, and in the middle of it, Sasha just beats the piss out of her. And because that would do two things. One, it would get sympathy back on Bayley, who desperately needs it right now because people hate her. And two, it would get Sasha back to being a heel, which is what she does best. We need this woman as a heel. She is not a very good babyface. Even though she seems to be a pretty nice person in real life, her character work is so much better as a heel. That's me.
I completely agree with that sentiment. When people say people come from NXT and they're not successful in the WWE, of course it's not talking about Sasha Banks, but you say when they move, it's because they changed their character. Well, Sasha Banks was the boss. She was a heel 80% of the time in NXT. And the fact that she would come to the WWE roster and play a face, which she doesn't look comfortable in that role. She can't cut a promo as a face. I thought she was one of the best women promos in the business when she was a heel. She can't cut a promo as a face. She doesn't even know what to say. It's like she's very uncomfortable playing the role that she's playing right now. Of course, Bayley is the perfect foil to generally, it would have been the perfect foil for her to go heel, but I don't think she is now. I think if Sasha snaps and beats up Bayley, the crowd will cheer the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
Bayley, they have turned on Bayley. I honestly think Sasha would get more of a heel if she snaps on Alexa Bliss and beats the crap out of her. Like, goes way too far. You know what I mean? Like, tries to injure Alexa Bliss. And she would actually be more of a heel for doing that than beating up Bayley at this point in time.
And, yeah, you could actually do a double turn with that.
Yeah.
Because Alexa's getting, babyface responses.
And she can still keep her attitude. And you saw she won clean. That, again, since Maurice, Alexa Bliss has the best DDT in the women's division. I mean, honestly, it's one of the better DDTs in wrestling. And yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with the hair or whatever, but Maurice's was classic. I put Maurice in one of the top 5 DDTs of all time. It just had this whiplash impact to it I thought was awesome. But Alexa Bliss has the best one right now. And it just, you sell it, and she can keep her little attitude because all she says is she's the best. And, she doesn't really have to change who she is to be face. Agreed. All she has to do is some kind of be like, hey, I'm all about winning on my own. But the shocking event of this is Nia Jax, Alexa Bliss's best friend, comes down the ring to celebrate with Alexa Bliss, puts her up on her shoulder, and straight out of the Dave Batista book of heel turns, drops Alexa Bliss on her head. It says it's her time. And she kind of holds up the belt and put it down and leaves. I find that a lot of people don't think Nia Jax is the greatest worker. And that's really, really funny to me. Because, Braun Strowman can do a lot, right?
Right.
But he only does like 5 moves.
Yeah, true.
And Nia Jax is the Braun Strowman of the women's division. She doesn't do a lot. But when you're 6 foot, 250-pound woman, between 250 and 300, and everybody else in the division is between 5 foot and 5'5", 100 to 150 pounds, what should you have to do?
True. She is, because of the division, she can get away with things like a Samoan drop being her finishing move.
Yeah, a leg drop, anything like that. She outweighs the people she wrestles by 100 pounds at the least. The only person that is somewhat in her weight class is Charlotte. I mean, even Tamina. If you look at Tamina when she takes off the jacket, she's maybe 150, 160. Maybe. I don't even think so, honestly. Yeah. She's a lot more stout, but she's not big. Charlotte being 6 foot, and she's probably between 150 and 200 pounds. Just taking a guess. Don't really like to discuss women weights a lot, but like Nia Jax is so much bigger than everybody else. So why would she do a lot? Now, is she a little reckless sometimes? Yeah, she's a little green. But from what I understand, she's only been actually in the business 2 years.
Yeah, that's true. She one thing I don't think she's had the opportunity to really show what she can do. I do still think she's seriously green. And I don't think she's the best worker in the world, but like you said, she can't do a whole lot. And we didn't know what kind of worker Braun Strowman was until he had those couple of that first match with Big Show. And it was like, holy crap, this guy can work. But as you said before, he doesn't have that opportunity very often, because even though the WWE, especially Monday Night Raw, is the land of the giants, he towers over almost all of them. I mean, I think Big Show is taller. He towers over Brock Lesnar, for Pete's sake. And Brock Lesnar is a ginormous human being. So he is so big, so he doesn't have the opportunity to do a whole lot of his flashier stuff. Which is fine. It's nice that he just busts that stuff out on special occasions.
And Braun Strowman's green, like again, his debut on Raw was his 3rd time in front of an audience for the WWE.
Can you imagine how terrifying that must be?
Exactly. And it's like he's really improved, but the reason he's improved is because they don't ask him to do a lot. His thing is an impact and character work. Just being really aggressive, yelling, doing the Braun Strowman, raising his hand and all that stuff. He's shown he can work with the Big Show, do some nip-ups, and he can look good with the Big Show, but the whole idea of him not doing a lot, or anyone not doing a lot, when you're big, you don't have to do a lot. I mean, you really do want your big guy to be like that, because if your big guy can do a springboard 450, why are you watching the Cruiserweight division?
Yeah, true. See, I understand that point of view. I don't quite believe that as much. I think you can, because if you think about it, there are people in New Japan for example, in the G1, doing stuff that people were doing in the Best of the Super Juniors, and people weren't complaining. Go, well, why is Tanahashi flying all over the place? Why is Kenny Omega flying all over the place? I only want to see Will Ospreay do that. It was the whole time was like, oh my God, this is awesome.
Well, this point of view comes from Chris Jericho saying that he truly believes that that's why 205 Live is not getting over. because you can just watch the main roster and you can sort of see Seth Rollins. He throws a good as Phoenix Splash as a Rich Swann. So why are you waiting to see Rich Swann's Phoenix Splash? AJ does a springboard 450. Kevin Owens can do a springboard flip off the top rope, springboard moonsault off the top ropes. And he does a really good-looking swanton. So why are you looking at the 205 Live division? Where in WCW, it was like you watched the Cruiserweight division because they did moves you didn't see on the main roster. You mean, or not even, I wouldn't call it the main roster, but later on in the show with the main event guys. Since Cruiserweight Wrestling has really, and the moves has really bled into the heavyweight division, it does lead to the question, why is 205 Live special? What I've noticed in New Japan is the smaller guys, they do a lot more flips, a lot more stunt work. It's a lot more fast-paced. It's not just the moves, it's just it being fast. My problem with the WWE or the 205 Live division is I think they should work faster.
Oh, yeah, and we've discussed this before, almost ad nauseum, but you look at the roster, and how many of the current roster would have been in the Cruiserweight division in WCW. Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, possibly even Dean Ambrose. I mean, a lot. So just wrestling in general has changed so much, and now those lines have been so blurred that other in New Japan where it's pretty defined, but even still you have times where you get, normally it's those 6-8 man tag matches where you see, Ricochet facing off against Tanahashi or something like that.
And they have the divisions to the point where it's a deal when you move from the junior division. You have been the juniors champion once or twice, and you say, hey, I'm moving to the heavyweight division.
Right. We saw that with Kenny Omega. We just recently saw that with Beretta.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the biggest problem with 205 Live is, and you could say this about the biggest problem with anything related to WWE, but the problem is Vince McMahon. He doesn't understand cruiserweights, and all he has to do is take the reins off a little bit. Just say, okay, guys, do what we signed you to do. Hell, I mean, Triple H should just say, let me take over 205 Live. Let me run this. And let me let these guys do what they did in the Cruiserweight Classic. Let me do what I let them do in NXT. And you will have matches people will want to see. Because at the end of the day, the real difference between the Cruiserweight division and the Heavyweight division anymore is just simply weight. It's not, to me, it's just who does great matches. And it just so happens that these guys are below this arbitrary number that the company has picked, since there are no real definitive weight divisions in pro wrestling like there are in UFC and boxing and all that stuff. And so they've lumped all these dudes together and just let them do what they do. And at some point, some of them need to move on and do what they do with the other guys.
It's hilarious because I was willing to bet money Cedric Alexander's not 205 pounds anymore.
Oh, no.
When he was 205, you saw the definition in his abs, and you have seen that gut kind of come back now. I guarantee he's about 220.
Yeah, he is the one of everyone in that Cruiserweight division. If you have to pick one guy to say, this is the one guy we got to get out of this division at some point, and some point relatively soon, and do something else with him because he has real superstar potential, and it's Cedric Alexander. And I've said this for the longest time.
I completely agree with you on that.
He is world champion caliber, in my opinion.
It's either push him or let him go. Either push him to the top of the Cruiserweight division, where I feel like he has some classic matches with Neville. Kevin Owens, huge fan of Neville. He thinks he's like one of the best wrestlers in the world. It's kind of funny. He has made like at least 3 tweets saying how good Neville is. And it's me. I I'm glad they made a cruiserweight division. If anything, it was for Neville because I mean, Neville was one of those guys that had me. It was really hard for me to suspend my disbelief on him beating up anybody.
See, I had no problems. Like the match when he had Cena beat for the U.S. title and he would have won, I think, had Rusev not interfered. I completely bought that.
How tall are you, Dave?
5'7".
Yes, you're taller than Neville, like 2 inches. Yeah, see, I've met Neville, and he's one of the smallest human beings that I've ever met other than, like, you know, Rey Mysterio. And he looks really good, you know. He looks really good physically, you know, when he's in his tights. But come on. There's weight divisions for a reason. And that dude is tiny.
Yeah, but I mean, in real life, in a fight, size doesn't always matter.
It doesn't always matter. It doesn't. 20% of the time, it doesn't matter. The other 80% of the big guy squashes the little guy.
I don't know. That's not what all those kung fu movies taught me, but maybe I'm wrong.
And that's great. But then you go up in real life, and a 5'6" dude hits a 6'2" dude. The 6'2" dude laughs at you, hits the 5'2" dude once, and he's out cold. Because that's what happens when you outweigh someone by 100 pounds. Like, it's not like, it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm 5'5", and you're 6 foot and unskilled. You know, again, yeah, a 5'5", black belt in Taekwondo is going to kick my ass. It's not gonna be close. I'm 6 foot 300 pounds. He's gonna put me down because I have never trained in any type of fighting style in my life. But even then, me not being fighting style, if he accidentally gets too close to me and I'm able to get a hold of him, it's probably not gonna turn out that well from him. Me being unskilled, just sheer size and strength, it's not going to turn out that well. He knows more because he's been fighting all his life. He knows better than to let me get close to him. But let's just say he's having a bad day. What is it? What a word I was going to say. Your fault, your level of fault that you can have when you're fighting so bigger than you is very small. So, like I said, it's me. I am brainwashed. Again, tattoo on my left leg says WWF. The big guy wins the fight. That is what I've been brainwashed since 1984. Don't get me wrong. You know, so that's what I'm like. In WCW, why it was my preferred is they did push a lot of smaller guys. And Ric Flair did hang with a lot of guys bigger than him, but he did it by cheating. It was a lot of eye gouging, nut shots. It was a lot of that to hang with the big guy. And again, that's what you would want to do against the big guy. But to say a small guy, someone's 5'5", that can actually beat up and outskill someone that much bigger than them, that is trained to fight, I find it hard to believe.
Well, we shall agree to disagree.
Yeah, so I do think Neville was one of the best wrestlers in the world. And if you want to put him in New Japan where, hey, all the wrestlers are smaller, hey, I'd push him as champion there. You want to put him on NXT, where generally the wrestlers are smaller, I'd push him there. ROH, fine. Great. But when you come to the main roster, and he is a foot shorter and 150 pounds smaller than the other guys, I can't push him as champion.
Yet Finn Balor.
Huh? I can't push him as champion. I would not push Finn Balor as champion. I call Finn Balor a sawed-off midget all the time.
See, and I have no problem with Finn Balor being a world champion.
Finn Balor's not even 205. He's like 185.
Yeah, he's a small dude.
Yeah.
But I am hoping at some point for that Finn Balor-Brock Lesnar match.
Yeah, I am still kind of hoping that they kind of do the thing where Finn Balor goes to SmackDown. And, you know, SmackDown, there's a lot smaller wrestlers on SmackDown. So I could see pushing him as champion on SmackDown. For some reason, I can actually buy him beating Jinder Mahal just because his skill level is so much higher than what Jinder Mahal translates in the ring. I could buy him doing that, but on Raw, oh my God, no. It's the land of the Giants.
Dude, I can buy the Brooklyn Brawler beating Jinder Mahal. That's how bad he is in the ring. Bless his heart.
That's the whole thing. I think he's not bad. I think he's basic. That's the problem. I think he's very, very basic. He wrestles he was the perfect wrestler in the 80s. It's a lot of punches and kicks and slams, and then he does his finisher. I mean, in the 80s, that was everyone. You didn't get a lot of high impact moves through the match. You get punches, kicks, rest holds, and then the finisher, the setup for your finisher. So he's a perfect 80s wrestler, which makes sense because he was trained by an 80s wrestler, and he probably has that logic. But I would like to see him add honestly, about 3 more moves to his repertoire. I would like him to be a person that works the back, like, a lot of forearms to the back breakers, that kind of thing. I think that would make more sense for his setup for his Colossus.
Yeah, that I could see that too. One thing I think at some point I think would be fun. I don't think today is the day, so we'll keep this for a future edition of Around the Ring. I want us to go through one of these days the entire WWE roster, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, 205 Live, the whole thing, and say whether or not we would keep the person, move them to a different show, or let them go.
And you know what? I think that should also be a show where we add Daniel to the mix. So I will talk to him about joining us, and we can do that probably in a couple of weeks. Sounds good.
Yeah, I think that would be fun. Now, to be fair, I got the idea from the good folks at Wrestling Soup. They did that, and it was amazingly entertaining. I was like, dude, we got to get Floyd and Daniel on this. This would be awesome.
Because we're going to have some opposite opinions, because there's some wrestlers I like that no one likes.
Exactly.
And there's some wrestlers I don't buy, a la Finn Balor, that a lot of people buy. To me, the Finn Balor's one of those people, he should always be in the paint. If he's not in the paint, he shouldn't be wrestling.
Oh, see, I think if you put him in the paint all the time, it takes away the specialness of it. Because he's not like the Road Warriors or Sting or the Ultimate Warrior, where paint is part of his permanent gimmick. The paint, at least in WWE, the paint is for something big, something special. And the other thing is, you really don't want him to lose when he has the paint on. And the rumors that I've heard are that the plans are, if he busts out the paint, he's not eating a pin.
Oh, wow. Well, Samoa Joe beat him with the paint on, so I'm happy with that.
Well, that was in NXT.
Yeah, it was.
And that's where booking is actually good.
Yeah, Sasha Banks. I don't know if you saw that article. She had a complaint about how she's being booked in the WWE, and she says you go show up on Monday and you stand around, and then they tell you you're doing something, and you go out and do your best to make it work. She's like in NXT. And NXT, there's Triple H and one writer. You get a lot more long-term goals, a lot more long-term plans. They see what's working, and she's like, and you knew what you were doing for 6 months in advance. He's like, on a Raw, you show up, and they're like, okay, you're losing the title tonight. And you're like, why? Or whatever. And they sometimes you just feel like they just want a hot potato to belt. And I was like, all right. So you know what? And it's funny when she talks about wrestling. I'm not a Sasha Banks fan. I generally don't like her attitude when it comes to fans. I respect her. I respect her ability to have that attitude, but I generally don't think she likes fans at all. That's why I truly believe she should be a heel, because then she can just be an asshole to fans all the time, and it's just part of her gimmick. But I don't generally like what she says because of that aspect of it. But when she came out and said that, I actually kind of feel for her, because when they were hot potato on the belt with Charlotte, Charlotte and Sasha were taking a lot of heat, and it was like, again, you have to realize, well, most people, realize this, but you do have to pay attention to the fact that this is scripted. This is written. This is a job for them. They're showing up. They show up, and they're told what to do, and they do it. I mean, that's their job. Just like you're told to show up, and, you as a librarian, you're told to rearrange these books, and you're like, I just did that this way, and it makes no sense. But you still do it because that's what you're paid to do. And I'm told, hey, update this person's computer. And I'm like, Well, the update causes problems, so why are we updating? And they tell me, and I do it anyway. Because, it's a job, in essence. I mean, as much as wrestling is different than any other job, in some ways it's the same. When people tell you to do something, you have to do it.
Yes, and for many years I held an attitude which I suspect many people in WWE hold right now. When you have a job that you hate and it's frustrating, there were two phrases that kept me through. One was, "Did the check clear?" And the other was, "Whatever I have to do to not get fired."
And for me, my motto is rent's due on the first.
There you go.
And no matter what, whether your mortgage or whatever, rent the first is always coming. So whatever you tell me to do, and more essence, when I talk to millennials or younger people, and I was like, in essence, no matter what your job description is, no matter what it says, no matter if it says your job, your number one job is to do what your boss tells you to do. If you don't want to do what your boss tells you to do, find another job. But in essence, your job is to do what your boss tells you to do. I am an IT guy. If my boss comes in and says vacuum the floor, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go vacuum the floor. And if I don't want to vacuum the floor, I'll go find somewhere else to work. But as long as they're paying me, I'm going to do what I'm told to do.
Yeah, so it's interesting. That is a philosophy I agree with to a point. I do also think
illegal things, and
right.
I was excluding that, but
Well, and I do think there are times that if because a lot of times there are people that just have the attitude of, well, if you don't like your job, go get another one. That is a lot easier said than done. I know people that can just bounce around and find jobs. A good friend of mine, Steve, friend of the show, he has this unbelievable knack for being able to just find a job. On a couple of occasions, at one point, he and his family picked up and moved to Seattle. He didn't have a job. He got a job within a couple of weeks. They did the same thing. They picked up and they moved back to Oklahoma. Within a week or two, he had a job. I'm like, motherfucker, how do you do that? How do you do that?
It's called being a social butterfly. I have many times warned my job if I was to fire or get quit that I would be starting somewhere within 2 weeks. And I have no doubt in my mind. I was told at my last job, before the job I have now, which I love so much, I really do, before this job, I was told, it was like, seriously, October 5th, they told me the department was going away, right?
Okay.
I made one email, one phone call. By October 10th, I was interviewing. By October 12th, I signed my offer letter with a start date of November 10th.
Wow. See, I
was going to say, I got that job. Then I interviewed over the phone for the next day for another job. So I had 2 jobs within a week and a half. And I was basically picking the one I wanted.
I hate you people. Man, I can't. I don't have that skill. I don't, man. I put in applications. I'm like, man, I hope they call me back. Nothing. I
feel like I'm a good interviewer. I do, but as you can tell by the show, I feel very comfortable talking. Yeah. And I feel very comfortable telling people how awesome I am. So,
that's something I'm not good at. Yeah, it's weird. I am, most interviews I get the job even when I completely botch an interview. So I know this is fascinating wrestling talk, but I got to tell the story. So I speak because we're talking about jobs, right? So I go on this interview it was basically OU does essentially outsource call center work for a lot of places. One of them is DHS. And so I go on this interview, and one of the guys, one of the managers in the room is a guy I used to work with at Convergys. And for those of you in central Oklahoma, in the Oklahoma City area, you probably already know, if you're over a certain age, Convergys was the worst place to work in the metro, quite possibly over anything else. It was horrible. Anyone that's done...
I want to say, it fed a lot of people, though. A lot of people that otherwise wouldn't have been employed anywhere had a job.
Yes. Oh, true. It was, yes, it is. As I would tell many new hires when I would ask them when they'd come out to sit and listen to us taking calls, I would say, so is there nothing else out there? You can't find any other jobs? And they're like, yeah, no, this is pretty much it. I was like, okay, because this job sucks. I mean, if it's between this and living in your car, you do this. But this job sucks.
And it paid above minimum wage. If let's say for the people that they were trying to get, generally people going to college or just getting their first job, or again, a lot of people that got unexpectedly pregnant. We got a lot of those. It was a good job. It paid more than minimum wage. You could somewhat make you could somewhat start your life on that job before you used it as a springboard to another job. It wasn't a job you should have stayed in for very long.
Yeah, you did time at Convergys, didn't you?
Yeah, I did 2 stints at Convergys.
2 stints, yeah.
I did a year and a year and 9 months, and it was pure hell. I mean, it was. Don't get me wrong, but I use it as I always say. I go back to Convergys. Like sometimes when my job sucks and I just need to power through, I learned how to soldier through at Convergys.
Oh my God, that job was it. I swear,
I put a lot of positive twist on a lot of things.
You do. You got some mad skills with that.
But Convergys, I'm just saying. I mean, sometimes, it paid well for what you did, right? It made helped. I know a lot of people that made it through college while working at Convergys, and I knew a lot of teachers that were working second jobs at Convergys. It did a lot of good for a lot of people, but it was a meat market. It got you in, got you out. It wasn't. You did not really feel loyalty to Convergys because Convergys kind of showed very quickly that they felt no loyalty to you.
Oh no, they treated you like garbage. I felt like, as far as a corporation, I thought Taco Bell. I did a short stint there. I thought Taco Bell treated their employees better than Convergys did. It was that. This is how bad Convergys is. So I used to work until midnight. And sometimes I would go to the Super Walmart in Moore, which was just right down the road from where the Convergys call center was, and do my shopping. And I remember one night I'm checking out, and I just had, I was chatting with the cashier, and I mentioned that I just gotten off work, and she's like, "Oh, really? Where do you work?" I was like, "Convergys." The woman stops what she's doing, looks up at me, and goes, "Oh God, I'm so sorry." When the cashier overnight at Walmart knows your job sucks, your job sucks. It's that bad.
You know what? I have to. Like I said, it was not a great place to work.
No.
But it bought me Madden a lot of years. It bought me college football a lot of years. It fed me very well a lot of years. I still have contacts and friends from Convergys. Those people that helped me get jobs really quick. And you know what? I look finally back on my time at Convergys because of the people, not because of the job.
Oh yeah, I'm that way too. I met some really cool folks there. I'm still friends online with a good chunk of them, and that's when I think back to my time at Sprint. What I also hated that job, but I loved the people I worked with. We had such a fun community up there, and that's I miss that. That was fun.
I don't think you were built for the call center life, Dave. Even though, is it responsible for your amazing silky voice?
No, it helped. Before this, I did get my associate's degree in broadcast journalism. So anyway, enough of that. But my story.
Let's talk about the big event from Raw.
Yes, the big event from Raw.
The shoot interview heard around the world. I love these and I hate these because I feel like when John Cena is in it, I think it's booked for him to come out looking the strongest.
Yeah, he's
I feel like he went further than Roman Reigns did, and I felt like Roman Reigns could have went a little further and really, really dug into him. You have the wealth of the internet on John Cena. There are pages dedicated to how much people hate John Cena. You can find it in 15 minutes. You can find better insults than Roman Reigns said, but he actually got some good ones in there. And actually, John Cena actually made the rare promo mistake.
Which part?
All right. So Roman Reigns cuts his interview, and he's like, there you go, blaming me again. Roman Reigns at no point in the interview, any point did he blame John Cena. He said John Cena sucked. He never blamed John Cena for hanging around. He never blamed anyone for anything. He said John Cena sucked. And then John Cena goes into the pretty much scripted same promo he cuts on The Miz, same promo he cuts on everybody, and I felt like it was a swing and a miss.
See, my take on that was my big take on this is, I think Roman Reigns got flustered, and there was a clear moment where you could see either Roman Reigns is a great actor or Roman Reigns legit forgot his lines. Because
he forgot his line.
Yeah, Cena got him super flustered at one point, and it was kind of bad, but that's what made it so awesome. Yeah, the Cena going, "Oh, you're blaming me again." I took that as the tone Roman Reigns was going for. It was the same tone that so many people have used against Cena at times, and so he kind of has that in his pocket. He can go back to that at any point. But what this, more than anything else, what this showed is, you love him or hate him, John Cena, when he is fired up, is a damn good promo. I mean, yeah, there are elements of this promo we have heard over the years so many times. You know, he did it against Punk, he did it against AJ Styles.
Punk hung with him.
Yeah, Punk did. I think Styles hung with him pretty good. I think, he pulled it. He did some of it with Kevin Owens. Owens hung with him. I don't know if he really ever pulled this with Daniel Bryan. I don't remember much of the build-up to their match because I didn't go back and watch a lot of that. But it's something he pulls out pretty regularly. But this was outstanding. I mean, the whole thing. I mean, and yeah, Roman got in a few things, but what it really did is it made Roman look really outclassed by the time it was all said and done. And honestly, if Roman Reigns should have just said, fuck the script, because if he is in the position that he is in, which by all accounts, he is one of those guys who is, I mean, he's not quite at John Cena level walking around in the back, but he is far and above everyone else in the back. He could probably get away with it, just say, okay, fuck this, and just going with it. Unless he's so trained to just recite lines, his brain doesn't work that way to just cut a natural promo. And Cena ripped into him. The whole thing was like, yeah, it's called cutting a promo. You kind of have to do this. It was beautiful. But I just walked away with that. I was like thinking, wow, Roman Reigns got in a couple digs, but he looked Bush League compared to John Cena in this. And you're right. There are pages upon pages of insults you can give to John Cena. And Max Landis did this video about why people boo John Cena. And he did it specifically for his friend Scott Snyder, who is a comics writer. He's done a lot of work on Batman in the last few years. A really, really good writer. But he did this video about why people hate John Cena. And it's like, and he boiled it down to, look, John Cena is Superman, but imagine Superman being written as if he is an underdog, always having to struggle to win, which is not the case. And that's why people hate him. And had he pulled elements from that, I think that would be really good. But I mean, yeah, it's just,
yeah. When I thought the best part when, like, back in the day when Punk called him the Yankees. Oh. And he was like, it was kind of cool because it was so true. It was like, you're the Yankees, you know. You can't be all like, oh, I'm the underdog when you're the face that's on everything, you know. You're on every shirt. You're doing 300 Make-A-Wishes. You're not an underdog. You're not a small guy. You look like what every man wants to look like. Don't get it. So it's like they try to build you like never give up or whatever, dude. Only thing I wish you would give up is your gimmick. There's so many. Like I said, I feel like I could write a better promo off the top of my head than the shit that they gave Roman Reigns. Because you know what? They don't want you to bury John Cena. John Cena is still the guy that has to go do the Make-A-Wish things. John Cena is still the face of WWE. So they're going to not let you go as far as they let John Cena go because he's still the face of your company. And like, to me, give me, I wouldn't say a mic in front of people because I've never been in front of that many people in my life. So I'm going to be real. I would probably lock up. But you give me time and you give me face-to-face with John Cena, I'll cut a promo that will make his unborn children cry.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can say, yeah, you decided to start wrestling 4 years ago. Thank you. But it doesn't forgive the 10 years where you completely gave me shit. Like, you decided to start wrestling a few years ago with CM Punk. Oh, great. Thank you, buddy. You give me 10 years of the same 5 moves, and then you decide to start working. Okay, great. I don't think you like your wife. I don't think you like anybody. I honestly think you might be a sociopath. You just kind of you do the emotions. You do the emotions that you think people want to hear. Oh, I'm really sad. Oh, I'm really happy to meet you. Oh, you know what? And that makes you Vince's perfect robot to go out there and shield the information that you're telling him. It's funny how your thoughts on how the wrestling industry should work are the exact same thoughts on how WWE thinks the wrestling industry should work. Have you had an original thought in your life?
Oh, that would be perfect. That would be absolutely beautiful.
Right there, off the top of my head, was a better promo than Roman Reigns delivered on Monday.
Yeah, that was so much better.
You can't say that because you just shitted on John Cena. If John Cena goes on the Today Show, they're fucking asking him about what you just said on Raw.
Yeah, and it's one thing when he could get away. He can just, when he's on the Today Show, like I think about when he was going up against AJ Styles, and he was on one of those shows, and they just referred to him as that guy from Atlanta, and it's easy to shit on, you know, someone who is not, you know. So what am I trying to say? So an AJ Styles or a CM Punk, because especially a guy like CM Punk, because you know he's this tattooed up punk rock guy with a horrible attitude who's a shithead basically to everyone. It's real easy to go on national media and just bury that guy. AJ Styles is this, you know, relatively short dude from Georgia. Who the hell knows who this guy is? He thinks he's the best, and you can dump on him that way. But you know, when you have someone like Roman Reigns, who is exalted as the second coming of Cena, and he's going to be your next big draw, your big thing. And you don't want to go, just like they don't want to bury Cena, you know, you don't want John Cena up there burying him. And I do like the fact that they tried to have in Roman's promo mentioning that Cena buries people, even though he fucked up the word shovel. I'm like, oh my God, he got so, it was so bad, he got so flustered. Like how sad is this that you think about the number of just horrendous promos that Roman Reigns has cut, mostly because of garbage dialogue given to him by Vince McMahon. I will take the sucker and succotash promo over him fucking this one up.
Yeah, this was the promo that everybody needed for him to get right. I've actually started turning the corner on Roman Reigns and realizing that I haven't seen him have a bad match with anybody in a very, very long time. And to realize that I might be in that group of people that just kind of booed him because it was cool. And you know what? I am self-aware enough to point that out about myself and realize, you know what? That dude can really work. He's put on great matches with Strowman, AJ Styles. You know, he's put on nothing but good matches. I mean, even his match with The Undertaker, he's working with a guy with 2 bad hips. It was a good match for that, if you think about that. A guy that was about to have double hip replacement surgery in 2 weeks after that match. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he kicked ass, right? So he's been doing good work for a long time, and I was like, I'm starting to turn around. But as far as a promo, I'm talking, this is Austin 316. This is The Rock finally coming out of his shell. This was that promo. This was that moment that literally could have put the universe back behind Roman Reigns. Go online, read a few articles, take time, study. You know what? Work with the writers. Get what WWE feels comfortable with, and then just go that one step further. Because you're not going to get fired. You're fucking Roman Reigns. They haven't put that much money in you to fire you. So even when they buried you, you were still the U.S. fucking champion. So don't get me wrong. They're not going to destroy you. You get to the level that the WWE feels comfortable, and you go a step further. You have a couple lines planned for when John Cena, you know he's going to go off script. It's really, really hard working with someone where you have to stay on script and they don't.
And that's not fair.
To me, they're always going to win.
Yeah, and that is especially, well, at least if whoever you're talking to is quick-witted. If you go out there with a script and you're facing Kevin Owens, who has essentially bullet points, and Kevin Owens is a great talker, you are going to get flustered because Kevin Owens will be able to, off the top of his head, come up with something snappy and witty and make you look like a fool. John Cena has that ability too. Granted, you're right, he comes off like a sociopath most of the time because there's something really creepy about that man. But he can talk and he can ad-lib. Roman Reigns does not have that. But the other thing, though, I don't know if Roman Reigns wants to have that. And I'm not someone that loves to bash people of certain ages or generations, but I almost wonder if I think Roman's a bit entitled. I think he's worked hard, but he did not go up through the independents like we talked about last week. These people who work their way up, who appreciate all of the niceties of WWE more than other people.
He comes from a wrestling dynasty in their family. You know what? He's a good-looking dude. He's been told he's money since the day he stepped into WWE. I mean, his first angle was he was the LeBron James in NXT. Just think about that. That's his first angle. I think they said, someone pointed out, he wrestled 5 NXT matches before he debuted with the Shield. I mean, he has been put on a rocket ship to the top. Don't get me wrong. So I can honestly say he probably is a little entitled. But you think about this. The great promo guys, right? You know, The Rock's really good at taking a scripted promo and, you know, mixing up the dialogue and, you know, saying some stuff that doesn't make some sense, but he sells it with such conviction. But if you look at I use The Rock because if you look at Samoans, look at the Samoans before Roman that came along. A lot of them played savages. A lot of them played characters where you didn't have to promo, you know, at all. Paul Heyman did the promo, and then they went out and worked. The Wild Samoans, the Headhunters, the Samoan SWAT team. You know, the list goes on and on of the different Samoan tag teams that they had. Ming, he never talked. I know he's Tongan, but in that same still dynasty range, you didn't have to cut a promo. They were more about the showman and the work. And if you look at Roman Reigns, as far as the showman, as far as what he does in the ring and the work, it is top notch. That dude can't talk to save his life.
And that's his biggest problem.
That's his biggest problem is WWE has built up the promo so much. Even me, it's brainwashed me. I don't want Shinsuke Nakamura to be world champion because he can't cut a promo in English. Can't do it. So I don't want him to be world champion. That is the whole specific reason. I don't want to have to hear that man promo.
And see, I'd love Shinsuke to be world champion, especially if that means he's actually going to, try hard in his matches.
You enjoy your broken English. Go for it.
Yeah.
His broken English is broken. I mean, he uses words, and I'm like, dude, you're around Americans all the time. How have you not picked up some of the intricacies of the language?
Well, I mean, it is apparently the most difficult language in the world to learn next to the Asian languages. So you're coming from a hard language that you've grown up with, trying to learn a language that is so drastically different that they don't even share an alphabet, for Pete's sake. Which makes me wonder, how do keyboards work in Asia, in like Japan and China? Are those things ginormous with all of their characters?
They're a really big keyboard.
Damn, that's gotta suck. So yeah, you were right. This promo should have been the watershed moment that saved Roman Reigns, and instead this has done more harm for Roman Reigns. At this point, the only thing that's going to save him is to stand in the ring with Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins and put his damn fist out.
Yep, and let Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose cut the promos like they did before, and he comes through and says, "Believe that," because that was the most convincing thing he ever did in his whole career.
Yeah, and you know what? They could honestly do it, and I'm sure they won't do it at No Mercy because No Mercy is a blow-off, who gives a fuck pay-per-view. But at some point in a match with John Cena, the Shield guys should come out and they should all beat up Cena, and they should just either become a tweener team or go heel and just say, you know what, fuck this, we're taking over this place, and then go straight for Lesnar and say, we want all the belts.
My thought process was this at the moment. And the Shield thing would be awesome because I'm a faction guy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not dismissing what you're saying because it's been what I've wanted for quite a bit of time. We've stated it. I would love the Shield to get back together. But if you don't want to do that, and Brock Lesnar is done with wrestling after WrestleMania, like a lot of people think he is, and they're building to Roman taking out Brock, Roman takes out Brock. The next night, Brock retires, and Paul Heyman is introduced as Roman Reigns' advocate. That would be so perfect, because Roman Reigns could just stand there looking like a badass and let Paul Heyman do what he does.
And Paul Heyman sells Roman Reigns like crazy. Or, you know what, even better, have at that Mania match, Heyman turn on Lesnar. And have Heyman, cost Lesnar the title. And then that Monday, I love it.
Cuts the promo saying, "You decided you're done? Do you know I'm attached to you? When you're done, I'm done. When you stop making money, I stop making money. So you didn't think about anybody else but yourself, and so I tied myself to a man that has a future in this business, that I've worked with his family for the last 20 years, and he does this Paul Heyman thing with it because he would make it sound so much better than I could even think about making it. And right there, Roman Reigns doesn't go heel. He goes Brock Lesnar. He's that perfect tweener role that they've been trying to get Roman Reigns in, and he just fights whoever comes along.
Yeah, I like it.
Because that fits Roman Reigns' personality more than trying to be the Samoan John Cena. I mean, there is a John Cena. There is another John Cena. There's a promo guy. There's the All-American guy. He is on that roster. They just have to find who he is.
Oh, you mean Jason Jordan?
I have to see his promo skills more improve, but I truly think Jason Jordan has money written on him. I would like him to either start doing the angle slam or the ankle lock. If you're sticking with the Kurt Angle, it's his dad thing. If you're not going to stick with the Kurt Angle thing, it's his dad. I have decided he would be the perfect wrestler to start using the Taz mission.
He needs a better finishing move, that's for sure.
Yeah, I have no idea what the fuck they're doing with that.
Yeah, speaking of, did you hear that story about Seth Rollins basically burying Vince McMahon's decision to get rid of the curb stomp?
No.
Yeah, so he did this interview talking about the curb stomp, and apparently what it was, he was on the Today Show or something, and he was champion, and they was doing an interview, and they showed footage of him doing a curb stomp, and Vince was like, I can't have this guy going on shows like the Today Show or Good Morning America, or whatever the hell it was. And the footage they show of this guy in the ring is him stomping somebody's head into the mat. So we have to find a different move.
Which is wrestling, so...
Yeah, I mean, how's that much worse than if the guy did a DDT?
Yeah, how's it any worse than John Cena doing the leg drop off the top ropes where he rams your face into the mat?
Exactly.
So I don't really understand that at all.
And Seth was quoted as saying, yeah, I get it. I hate it, but I get it. So we've looked for something else.
Yeah, nothing else has worked.
No. And if he's going to keep doing that knee, he really needs to go train with Kenny Omega or whoever trained Kenny Omega to throw knees, because no one in professional wrestling throws a knee like Kenny Omega.
But there's 5 guys on the ROH roster that throw knees better than Seth Rollins. This is not just, he doesn't throw the best knee in the business. He doesn't throw a top 10 knee in the business.
Oh, God, no.
That's my problem with it.
No, and they went with that because I suspect they went with that because he had that one match where he broke John Cena's face with a knee on accident. And that wasn't even a very good-looking knee.
It was supposed to be poetic. The idea is that the knee, the leg that was his biggest weakness, is now his biggest strength. He's actually said that.
I just wish he did it better.
Yeah,
I mean, it's better than I could do it.
And like I said, it's not that he doesn't do the best knee. He doesn't do a good knee.
Exactly. I mean, you look down. All you have to do is look at the NXT roster, and you look at Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong does 100 times better knee than Seth Rollins does.
Don't say that out loud, or he'll never be allowed to use the knee again.
Oh shit! Sorry. Well, no one's listening, so at least no one from WWE. We got our good friends at the club listening. We love you guys.
Yeah.
So, anything else on Raw before we move on to the SmackDown?
No. That was supposed to be the condensed version. I feel like we spent a little while on that.
Well, how long has it been since there's been something that is that meaty and to just dig into?
And it crossed over very much. It crossed over. I heard about that promo from people outside the wrestling world, and I love that. Because, like I said, I loaned for the 1997 to 2000 area where it was literally cool to talk about wrestling. If you didn't watch Raw or SmackDown, you were outside of the conversation. Because I wouldn't say I was a big deal back then. I really wasn't. But, you think about in the world of wrestling and you have the wrestling guru. Again, a lot of people came to me. A lot of people's like, what did you think of this? What did you think of this? What are they going to do next week? Now the only question I get from people outside of wrestling world, when's Stone Cold coming back? I'm like, dude's fucking 50 and he has a broken neck, so never.
So I guess real quick before we move on, I forgot to ask this. Was that a shoot? Was that John Cena shooting?
On Roman
Reigns? Yeah.
No, I feel like he took the biggest arguments of the WWE and then he took Vince McMahon's problems with Roman Reigns and he just basically said them in front of people.
Wait, Vince McMahon has problems with Roman Reigns? I thought the only thing he had for Roman Reigns was a gigantic hard-on.
Because a lot of people love Roman Reigns, but you know what? They have been, and he's done what he's supposed to. Jericho, it's funny because Jericho, I'm starting to feel like is a WWE shield too, because he flat out says Roman Reigns might be the best guy out there. Come on, dude.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my God. So yeah, that actually pissed me off about Chris Jericho, who was seriously, I was on a Chris Jericho love fest for like the last year because of all the how he got over coming back. And I've been on a Chris Jericho love fest. I'm like, don't ruin it. Believe me. All the good work you've done in the year last year, don't ruin it by saying stupid shit.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons why I don't listen to his podcast. Because, yeah, his run was incredible. But I think it was I think you could fall this under the worked shoot category.
Yeah.
This is the work shoot. So it was.
I feel like he said what Vince McMahon wanted him to say, because he was like, if we embarrass Roman Reigns a little bit, maybe we'll embarrass him into working a little bit harder, especially on promos, because promos in the WWF are way more important than they are in any other company.
True that. All right, well, enough of that. How about SmackDown this week?
Honestly, not a lot to talk about. So they announced Nakamura and Randy Orton in a number one contenders match, because apparently there's no one else in the company that is other than the two guys Jinder Mahal beat already. There's no one else in the company that should get the right to be number one contender.
Boy, that just screams that just screams holding pattern.
Yeah, because for me it's like you could have did Randy, Shinsuke, and Rusev in a triple threat match. You could have had another match to be third person to Sami Zayn, throw him in there, did a four corners match. But the fact that you flat out just say Shinsuke and Randy, they've already lost to this guy.
And why not a tournament?
Why
not a tournament?
Why not a tournament? Why not give anybody a shot? Why not have, Bobby Roode just debuted after a long run as NXT champion. Why isn't he in the match? Why did those two people just get picked?
Oh, wow. Can you imagine Bobby Roode against Jinder Mahal? That'd be the most 80s of 80s matches.
Yeah. Chinlock.
Chinlock City.
Chinlock
City. Man. Well, so this, one thing that a lot of people have talked about over the years is the fact that there is no ranking system for people. Like when you used to get Pro Wrestling Illustrated, they always had the rankings in the back, like the contenderships and everything. And that is something that WWE's never really done. And you get these arbitrary number one contender things. Why not, on one of the shows, and SmackDown would be a good one to do it, actually try a ranking system. And as you get wins, you move up the ladder, and you get to the point where, okay, you are a contendership for the U.S. title, and then you can maybe work your way up to the world title. I don't know. It would be something different it would be a different way of moving people around, because I would like more matches to just be about, I want to win some matches so I can get some title shots. Or, title opportunities.
Yeah, like when Sami Zayn went on his run to the title, where he beat everybody that had beaten him in like over a month to finally get a title shot, something like that actually makes sense to me. And if they wanted to do it, even with Sami Zayn on the main roster, I would be behind it. Because, weird thing, I don't like Sami Zayn. He bores me. But I think there's so much money in Sami Zayn. I think there's so much fanfare. He is what they wanted John Cena to be for all the years. He is actually the underdog. And if you really, really push Sami Zayn, I think he could be that next Daniel Bryan era guy.
Oh, yeah.
Even though he bores me.
Oh, he screams money.
That's why I can say I can look outside of myself and what entertains me. Sami Zayn is money.
Yep, exactly. And they have, just like with Bayley, they've botched Sami Zayn. And they need to, exactly.
He can be Tommy Dreamer. He can be a lot of different things. The guy that gets the shit beat out of him, but somehow he gets you in that corner and he comes running at you and he kicks you in the face. That's how he wins. And that's his finisher is the finisher to me. Because I can buy anybody losing to that finisher. It's a dude running at you with all his might, putting up his foot and kicking you in the face. I don't care how big you are. You're going out.
Agreed. Yeah, it's a great finishing move.
Yeah, and it was like I wasn't behind it at first because it is very, it's very set up specific. You got to be in that right position. But I just it is a great equalizer. If you run at Braun Strowman, I don't care how big you are, and you lift up your foot and you run it directly into his jaw, I'm pretty sure it's going to take him a little more than 3 seconds to get up.
Yeah, and he even hit that on Strowman when they had their short feud.
And I buy it.
Yeah. I've seen him in, I forget if it was a Rumble or a Battle Royal or some tag match. He actually hit it out of nowhere once. Some dude happened to be in the corner, and that was like, boom, he was there. It was like, how'd that happen?
Yeah, so I think the perfect person to take the title from Jinder Mahal, if done correctly, would be Sami Zayn.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
His move is so sudden that if he hits it, the Singh brothers might not even have time to react. Jinder goes in for a clothesline in the corner. Sami Zayn moves out the way, goes in the corner, runs, boom, boot to the face, 1, 2, 3, match over. Do it on a SmackDown. Do it where no one's expecting it to happen. Your new champion, Sami Zayn.
And that needs to happen. We got to get this belt off Jinder. But I tell you, I don't think Shinsuke is the one. Not now. Shinsuke needs to build up. It needs to be him and AJ Styles at either Mania or Rumble, preferably Mania, where he finally wins the belt.
See, my whole thought process was like, let's say you do the Sami Zayn thing where he wins. They basically, Sami Zayn holds the belt for a few months, and then they basically, I wouldn't say put on the same match, but the similar type attitude of the match that they had at that first NXT when Sami Zayn, where Shinsuke debuted, just that hard-hitting match. Because to me, that match, more than anything, told me who Shinsuke Nakamura was. And if he takes the title in that type of match, as in truly being the best, I think that's what will work. I don't think him beating Jinder Mahal is going to get them the reaction that they want. But I do think the fact that they've given Jinder Mahal somewhat of a long time reign has actually worked, because everyone's really, really tired of him being champion. So whoever that guy is going to get a massive build. That's why I was like, you should do it someone unexpectedly. Sami Zayn wins a Battle Royal, triple threat match, whatever. He gets a shot on SmackDown, and it's not seeming like it's going to be this big thing. And then he hits Jinder Mahal with the boot. Just the pop that you would get from that. Just the rating spike you would get. I just think Sami Zayn, like I said, he's a unique guy. He's a Canadian Muslim, right? He's a Muslim, right?
No, he's Arab.
He's Arab.
But I don't know if I don't think he's a Muslim. But
he has a lot of the, I didn't know the symbols. I was kind of confused on the difference, the intricacies of being, the differences between the Arab and Muslim, but he's all about Syria.
It's so just to clarify, he does have some Arabic on his trunks, and being an Arab is an ethnicity. Being a Muslim is a religion.
But a lot of people talk about being a Muslim like it's ethnicity.
Well, that's the whole thing where it gets muddy. Is you get that part of the world where you have Jews, because you have the Hebrew Jews, and those people who are descended from people originally from Israel, that is considered an ethnicity. But just being Jewish is a religion. So
yeah, that's why I'm like, it's very confusing.
Yeah, and more so where Israel and Judaism go hand in hand. You don't have Israel without Judaism. You don't, in a lot of ways, you don't have Judaism without Israel. They are one and the same. Islam came around a lot. There had been Arabs for hundreds, if not thousands of years before there was an Islam. So Islam was a religion that Arabs was created by an Arab, and Arabs adopted, and has become pretty synonymous with being Arab. But not all Arabs are Muslims. So there's that.
Thank you for keeping me from being accidentally racist. I truly, because I honestly can say this after all the years. I did not understand, because they are used so interchangeably in like the news and the media, because whatever, it's just they're used like a Muslim is used as an ethnicity almost.
Right. And let's just thank God that really Vince McMahon hasn't put two and two together, that he is of Arab descent, because then, by God, even though he looks like he's freaking Scottish with his red hair, that's the funny thing. He's a Canadian who looks like he's Scottish, yet is Arab.
Yeah.
And that's probably the only reason why he is not in some Iron fucking Sheik gimmick right now. Because the xenophobe that runs this country, that is Vince McMahon, will go for the cheapest, most racist, nationalistic crap he can, because he still, for some reason, thinks that shit works. Because otherwise, why would we get Rusev being attacked with USA chants? Because we can't have this guy do anything else, even though he's proven on social media he's actually a witty dude. But whatever.
I Wikipedia. He is born in Montreal, Canada, to Syrian immigrants who moved from homes to Canada in the 70s. He is Muslim and is trilingual, speaking Arabic, French, and English fluently.
Damn. That makes me feel dumb.
Well, yeah. It makes you feel American.
Well, that too.
My parents are from America, and they spoke English, and I spoke English. So there was never a reason. But I imagine if I was 4 or 5 and we got transferred to the French-Canadian part, I would probably speak English and French.
Yeah. So I want to play off your idea with Sami Zayn winning. Let's fancy book for a moment. Things that will never happen, but would be awesome. So Sami wins. He holds the belt until either Survivor Series or Royal Rumble.
I'm saying Royal Rumble. I would say I want him to have a nice long reign where they really build up who he is.
Agreed. And he finally has that takeover match he had against Nakamura, a match of that caliber. Nakamura wins. That same night, AJ Styles wins the Royal Rumble. AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, main event WrestleMania. And that's when, in this big setting, AJ wins the title. He finally beats Nakamura on a huge stage, something he could not do in New Japan.
Yep, I'm down with that.
And you could even have that moment at the end. Hey, they're on their knees, AJ's clutching the title, and they do the fist bump, the show of respect. Oh, it would be so good.
Yeah, it would have to be during the middle of the show, because Roman has the main event.
Oh my God, if fucking Roman Reigns, God damn it, and that's going to happen. It's going to be
John Cena. Shout out to John Cena. I didn't realize he had main event at WrestleMania in 5 years.
Yeah, it was it 3 of those last 5 has been Roman Reigns main eventing.
Yeah, the last 3.
So what is the longest streak of people main eventing WrestleMania?
I think it's. Hogan did the first 7.
Let's see. What is the old?
Hogan did the first 7. Shit, John's reign was only what? It wasn't. I think it was a 2. I think he was 12 and 13. Main eventing. I'm going through all the WrestleMania main events in my head right now because I've actually sat and watched all of them. 21 is when Cena won the title, but he wasn't the main event. I vaguely remember 22 and 23. Those are like nothing.
Okay, so here I found on iwnerd.com list of all WrestleMania main events in WWE history. WrestleMania 1, Hogan, Mr. T against Piper and Paul Orndorff. WrestleMania 2, Hogan and King Kong Bundy. WrestleMania 3, Hogan and Andre the Giant. WrestleMania 4, Randy Savage against Ted DiBiase.
So he didn't even main event 4. Oh,
no, 5, Savage and Hogan. 6, Ultimate Warrior and Hogan. 7, Sergeant Slaughter and Hogan. 8, Hogan and Sid Justice. 9, Yokozuna and Bret Hart. 10, Yokozuna and Bret Hart. 11, Bam Bam Bigelow versus Lawrence Taylor. What the fuck? Anyway. 12, hey, Bam Bam Bigelow, and I love me some Bam Bam Bigelow. He can say, I main evented WrestleMania. He can do something. He did something CM Punk never did. Dude, man, wow. That's crazy. 12, Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels. 13, Psycho Sid versus The Undertaker. 14, Steve Austin versus Shawn Michaels. 15, The Rock versus Stone Cold. 16, otherwise known as WrestleMania 2000, Triple H versus Rock versus Big Show versus Mick Foley.
Big Show, main event of the WrestleMania.
Yep. 17, Stone Cold versus The Rock. 18, Chris Jericho versus Triple H. 19, Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar. 20, one of my favorite matches of all time, Triple H, Chris Benoit, Shawn Michaels. That was a good one. 21, Triple H and Batista. 22, Cena and Triple H. 23, Cena and Shawn Michaels. 20.
So Triple H had 3 in a row there.
3 in a row, yeah. 24, Edge and Undertaker. 25, Triple H and Randy Orton. 26, Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. 27, Miz and John Cena. 28, John Cena and Rock. 29, Rock and John Cena. Another favorite, Randy Orton, Batista, and Daniel Bryan. 31, Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. 32, Triple H and Roman Reigns. 33, Roman Reigns and Undertaker.
Triple H has main evented 5 WrestleManias.
Oh, good, you were keeping track as we were going.
Yeah, 5. He's actually main evented more WrestleManias than John Cena. If they're talking about the main event just being the last match, I think you only say John Cena, 4 times?
5, 6, 7. So Hogan's done it 7 times.
And that's the record.
I could see them making... I could see freaking Roman Reigns doing it more than 7 times. That's just...
Yeah, Triple H is second at 5. I think we said The Undertaker for 4 times.
Okay, let me double check again. Hell, Sid's done it twice, for Pete's sake. 101.
I know Trips was definitely at 5. I don't know. Like I said, I lost track on the tape.
3, 4. Taker's done it 4 times.
So it's Hogan, then Triple H, then Undertaker, and then Roman Reigns.
Yeah, because Shawn Michaels has only done it 3
Twice?
times. No, wait. He did it.
Shawn and Brett, Shawn and Stone Cold, Shawn and John Cena, so 3 times.
And
No,
Shawn,
4.
Triple H, yeah, Benoit.
So he's at 4.
So he and Triple H are tied at 4.
Triple H is at 5.
At Triple H, okay.
Because he was in the Roman Reigns match, the Triple Threat match, the Fatal 4-Way match, Jericho, and you said 1 more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And Cena's done it, or Rock has done it 3 times.
Yeah.
Batista's done it twice. Randy Orton's done it 3 times. It looks like, or no, twice.
And it's funny because if you go back, those numbers inflate a whole lot if you talk about the matches that are considered main events but did not last.
Yeah. The multi-main event bullshit. No, you're the main event when you were the last match. Yeah. You were the headliner at that point.
Yeah.
All right.
There's some things headline, but they're not selling the tickets. Like Roman Reigns and The Undertaker did not sell any more tickets.
Oh, no. God, no.
Those tickets were sold. Everybody had decided they were going. And then he was like, okay, we're going to put Roman Reigns and Undertaker on. And then it's funny because this is a millennial attitude to me. Roman Reigns is, I sold out 100,000 stadium in Dallas. Fuck, dude, I bought those tickets in October. I didn't know who was going to be main eventing.
Yeah, exactly. That is...
Yeah, I bought the ticket to fucking WrestleMania. Again. Give me a minute with Roman Reigns and I would destroy any kind of confidence that he might have had in his career. Because it's just... And I'm not saying people are fragile. It's just... I just want to take away this facade that you think you had. Facade that you think you've earned anything that you have.
Yeah, exactly.
You're an actor. Some writer says you're a better story than somebody else, and that's great. but you have not earned it. You did not earn it more than Kevin Owens. You did not earn it more than Sami Zayn, AJ Styles. Wrestling a bingo hall with 15 people, then talk to me about earning it.
Yeah, no, yeah. Roman. I mean, this is not to say Roman Reigns didn't work hard, but Roman Reigns, I'm sure all he had to do was say, "Hey, Dad, I want to wrestle," and then
he had to lose quite a bit of weight. What he looks like now is nothing like what he looked like before. If you look up a picture of him as a football player and you said that guy he's got the $1 million smile and is going to make a ton of money in wrestling one day, I would have said, bullshit, you fucking nuts. He put in a lot of work on his physique.
And sometimes I wonder if I still have a theory that he keeps wearing the flak jacket because he's got a little bit of a gut. Because sometimes you look at his tummy area, not that I can talk because I'm a fatty, but you look at his tummy area and you're like, he's not cut. Because I would think if he was really cut and ripped, Vince would be like, take that off. I need to see that. I need to see that all night long.
Women need to see that,
yes. So I think that's one reason why he keeps it on. I would rather just wear a goddamn t-shirt, man. The flak jacket is sold, especially now that has that picture of him doing the Superman punch on it. I'm like, oh my God, can you give me any bigger douche chills just by your ring gear? Seriously, why are you doing this poor man WWE? This guy can work. Stop making him look like an idiot. But anywho, continuing on with the SmackDown. So as we have now booked a much better potential outcome for the WWE Championship on SmackDown, which will probably not happen. We're gonna get possibly some more two dudes who lost to Jinder facing Jinder.
And then Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon got in the award awards before Aiden English and Sami Zayn. It's building up to probably KO and Shane McMahon, and I've heard it's going to happen in Hell in a Cell, and which whatever. And then the Usos beat the New Day again, which is cool. I think they put on great matches, and they get the stipulation for the next pay-per-view, which I believe is Hell in a Cell. So it'll probably be the New Day versus the Usos in a cell.
Okay, now see, that is actually a blood feud. That makes sense for Hell in a Cell. Arbitrarily every year, because it's October, we got to bust up the Hell in a Cell. That makes no sense. I'm sorry. Can we have a Halloween Havoc one year, please?
No. You do, because I would love for them to do a Halloween Havoc, spin the wheel, make the deal matches, where they spin the wheel and then you had to do whatever match it says. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, for fuck's sake, you now have two pay-per-views. You're going to have two pay-per-views in October. Let's have one be Hell in a Cell, the other one be Halloween Havoc.
Well, if you want to give me any WCW pay-per-view, any WCW match, I want War Games.
Well, yeah, but they're not going to do that because, one, it's not a Vince McMahon thing. Another reason why we'll never get Halloween Havoc. But they complain, they say, well, if we put two rings in there, we lose too much floor space for tickets and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it would be, to me, the WWE right now is missing up on New Japan is selling on is the gang warfare. People love to belong to something. And, people love to say they're Los Enabres de Japón, or I'm Team Chaos, or I'm the Bullet Club. Just imagine if in WWE you had the Miztourage, you had the Club, you had the Shield, and they're all gang kind of things trying to take over, to own the world title and everything like that. You would give the super fans, the fans inside the fans, a different group to belong to, and you would sell so many more shirts.
Oh yeah, and I mean, hell, they're doing that in NXT right now.
Yeah,
but we'll get there in a minute.
I don't know. Yeah, I would love to find out what their group is called.
I know, me too.
I think that's all from SmackDown that was worth talking about. Because again, in true old school Raw fashion, We got Shinsuke Nakamura and Randy Orton versus Jinder Mahal and Rusev as the main event. After Nakamura and Randy Orton surprisingly wins, which is really, really shocking, Randy Orton RKO's Shinsuke Nakamura because you can never trust the Viper. Which, again, I think his character's boring, but he plays his character the best to me in anybody in WWE.
Yeah, he does a good job. At least when he cares.
Like, no one cares. It's a boring-ass character. But he plays his character. That's his character. He's like, I might be a good guy, I might be a bad guy, but I'm always the Viper.
I was going to say, I'm the guy. Oh, God. Such a bad promo. So, let's talk about a show that was really good. NXT. This was awesome. I enjoyed the heck out of this.
Yeah, because you got good in-ring action and you got good storylines.
Yes.
The promo at the beginning of the show is what you want out of wrestling. Drew McIntyre basically comes out and says this is his NXT, which, I mean, he does that really well. And, you know, happened to be 6'6", 230-pound, good-looking dude that just comes off as a pure badass, kind of helps that image. But Roddy Strong comes out and, you know, he comes out and tells him to his face, you know, I'm coming for your belt. And it was funny because I was like, I didn't know what Drew McIntyre was going to say. I'm thinking he's going to do straight white meat baby face type of response. No, he's like, you came at me like a man. Be prepared to get knocked out like a man. I thought that was one of the best legit badass things you could say.
Yeah, and bless you to whoever's in the back. I agree. Well, the other thing, my favorite part, though, of Drew's promo, which I will say, Drew still getting lukewarm responses from the Full Sail crowd, but the best part was when he was naming off people and he got to Adam Cole and the crowd yelled, "Baby." I popped so hard for that. I was like, yes, Adam Cole. And they had that whole shot at the beginning where they took out Sanity and some other dudes were all laid out in the parking lot. And you see new reDRagon walking off. And I'm saying that because there was an angle in when Cole was in the Kingdom in NXT, and he started teaming with Kyle O'Reilly. He came back from injury, and they played up this whole thing that Kyle O'Reilly was the only guy who came and visited him. You know, they're best friends. He was in Kyle's wedding, all of this, and there was a match where it was the Kingdom against reDRagon, and at some point one of the Kingdom guys was going to do something real nefarious, and Adam Cole stopped him, and then you had the stare down with Bennett, Taven, and Maria against reDRagon and Adam Cole, and the crowd started chanting "New reDRagon," and so until they give them a name, I am calling them reDRagon.
Okay.
But yeah, then that promo was really good. That whole thing with Roddy. Roddy is still he's not the best promo in the world, but he is so good in the ring.
I think it has everything to do with his voice, not what he says.
Exactly. He has the Baron Corbin syndrome.
Yeah, he has a very kind of high voice.
Yeah.
And it almost sounds like no matter what he's saying, he's whining.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot you can do about that.
Yes. So we then had Heavy Machinery beat some scrubs.
No, it's funny. They had the most Game of Thrones names ever. Damien Awell and Edwin Negron.
And you know they did that on purpose.
They just sound like those names just straight came out of Game of Thrones.
Heavy Machinery is great. They're so much fun. I mean, they're super green, but there's a lot of potential in those guys, I think.
And again, when you're that big, I mean, look at Tucker. I mean, he is built like a tractor. Like, God, he's just fucking huge. You don't have to do a lot.
No, you don't. And he's the one who can't put his arms all the way down, right?
Yeah, and Tucker Knight is actually not green at all. He's been in the developmental system for like 5 years.
Oh, damn. Well, as a team. And I shouldn't say green.
Like,
they're new.
He's on his like third or fourth tag team member or something like that.
Oh man, he's like the white Angelo Dawkins.
Yeah. They haven't found anything that can stick. I don't think Heavy Machinery will go over on the main roster. So
Probably not. Probably. I don't think Vince would know.
It's
what
such an
to do with them.
80s tag team.
It is, but they are so much fun. And then we had Ruby Riott and Peyton Royce, a really good match.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, what else do the Iconic Duo have to do in NXT? If you're not going to give them the belt, unless maybe they are, I think this feud with Ruby Riott, I think is going to be a lot of fun, and it's something good for all three of them to do for a while, since the title is up in the air at the moment. But I'm a big fan of Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, so I think they're both awesome.
They need no more development.
No.
But they are featured on NXT. Raw and SmackDown, they might get lost.
Exactly. That's one of those things. It's like, well, like you said before, unless you have a plan for them on the main roster, something that they're going to do, don't bring them up just to bring them up. Because those two, with the exception of needing more tag teams, but they need more tag teams everywhere, those two shows are chock full with people. I mean, yeah, the women's divisions aren't that big on either show, but I mean, they have things that they're not doing with women on both of those divisions. So why the fuck, unless you have a plan for them, would you bring the up? And but yeah, and if the rumors are true, if Asuka's going to be heading to Raw, then I would say the Iconic Duo needs to go to SmackDown. I think they would do better in SmackDown anyway, but I'm of the opinion anymore that almost anyone from NXT will do better on SmackDown.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I completely agree with it. And those two, just on side note, there are the nicest people you'll ever meet.
Really? Oh, that's awesome. That makes me like them even more.
They are legit beautiful women, which that says nothing, but it just seems like their attitude with fans, maybe they just learned how to handle fans. It is genuine and beautiful. It's just awesome. They are so they put their arms around you, take your picture. Hey, how's it going? They are so good when it comes to how they deal with fans.
That is really cool. I mean, and they did come up in the Australian indie scene, so it's not they were, just born and raised in Full Sail. They've worked their way up there. So
I found that also, and I don't know if it's just they've learned to turn off or deal their disdain. But people that work their ways up in the indies are nicer than people that than the WWE products. Exception, Charlotte is so awesome. I would challenge anybody. Charlotte is probably going to be one of the best meets you have, depending on it. She is so interactive. Maybe that just comes. She grew up in the business with Nature Boy. Maybe that comes from that, but she is one of the best meetups you'll get.
Well, yeah, no, I think it all goes back to the point we made last week. It's you work your way up. You work really hard for something. You appreciate it a lot more than if you're just handed something.
And your job on the end is to sell T-shirts. And people are not going to buy T-shirts from someone they hate.
Very true. Very true. So then we had the main event, Roderick Strong and Bobby Roode. You think this is going to be the last time we see Bobby on MTV?
Yeah, I mean, they pretty much said it. That he came back. He didn't have to come back. He had some unfinished business. They pretty much basically wrote him off in that match by commentary.
Yep.
So I think this was it, and I honestly think it was one of his better matches in NXT.
Oh yeah. He and Roddy have really good chemistry together. They work really good matches because it's you've got the bigger king arrogant dude against the scrappy guy who's a good looking dude, but you feel like is the underdog, has to work for everything. Not that Roderick Strong can't do the arrogant heel, because he can, but in this role they work really well together. I've enjoyed all of the matches of theirs that I've seen.
Yeah, and I think they went away from the sick kick because it's so similar to what Drew McIntyre does, because they going with the suplex backbreaker as his finisher, which is funny because he does like 90 other backbreakers. Why is this backbreaker more effective than the other 90 backbreakers he does? But They did that with his finish. That was the only question I had. And he was using the sick kick until Drew McIntyre comes in and basically uses the sick kick.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it.
I hate Drew McIntyre's kick, though.
Yeah.
The D so much better than the kick.
Yeah, Roddy's sick kick was 1,000 times better than Drew McIntyre's, whatever they call it.
What is it called? The Claymore.
Yeah. And then, so Roddy wins. He celebrates. Drew McIntyre comes out to do a stare down, holds up the belt, and then gets destroyed by New reDRagon. Eats a DDT on the on the stage. reDRagon kind of run off as William Regal follows him, sternly looking angry, and they say, we own this place. This is our NXT. We're taking over. This was great. You have 3 new guys come in, and you just have them run roughshod over everyone and just destroy people. I do think at some point Adam Cole is going to beat Drew McIntyre for the title, and I think reDRagon are going to get the tag titles, and I think the 3 of them are going to hold the belts, hopefully for a long time. I think that would be a nice way to build that up.
They're going to hold it, but not for a long time. I think I guess we got to call a new long time. A 6-month title reign now is what a year title reign used to be.
Right, yeah. When I say a long time, I'm talking more than 90 days.
Yeah, so yeah, because that's what it is. It's everything's microwave. Your title reign is 6 months. Like, it feels like Brock Lesnar has been the champion forever, and he has only been the champion since WrestleMania.
Yeah, gone are the days of the Hulk 4-year-long title runs, or the Bruno Sammartino 8-year run.
Yeah, fans get sick of it, and now that you can watch stuff online, it's funny how because you can watch your stuff online, and people oversaturate themselves, and then say they're tired of looking at someone.
Good point.
They come in they're like, man, I really like Kevin Owens. And then on Wednesday and Thursday, they watch 100 Kevin Owens matches from the Indies. Next week, I'm really tired of looking at Kevin Owens.
Watch your mouth.
Do it to yourself.
So, speaking of New reDRagon, they on WWE.com they've put out they did a story, 5 things you need to know about Adam Cole, and another set of photos from his work on the Indies, kind of like they did with Kyle O'Reilly. Now this one doesn't have like kind of running commentary on the bottom with the pictures, but we've got him putting a figure 4 on Matt Hardy, pretty broken. He and Roddy, him holding the ROH belt. A few shots of him and Kyle O'Reilly fighting. A shot with him and AJ Styles. A number of pictures of him doing Bullet Club things with the Young Bucks, including one where you see Cody Rhodes' butt. So yeah, it's that's pretty. I mean, a lot. There's a couple there, just him and the Young Bucks right there. So Young Bucks fans, they're on WWE.com front and center.
All right, and speaking of, I just wanted to say this because speaking of on this, as far as the Young Bucks and indie wrestling, ProWrestlingTees.com is doing something this all weekend on the Labor Day for people to actually listen to the show today or tomorrow. You can go onto their site and buy a shirt. All shirts are 15% off. But the cool thing is proceeds from the shirt sales are going to help the Hurricane Harvey victims. Also, I think it's called House of Hardcore Wrestling. Tommy Dreams promotion is going to match every order for shirts. So for every shirt they orders, they're going to match shirts, and they're going to send them down for Hurricane Harvey to people who have lost their stuff and their clothes and all that kind of stuff. Awesome. So if you want a new shirt, and you want to help out victims of Hurricane Harvey, go ahead and go to ProWrestlingTees.com and order a shirt. When I get back in tonight, I'm going to order Cody Rhodes shirt, and I'm going to order an MVP shirt. The reason I'm ordering an MVP shirt is something you only know about if you follow him on Twitter or social media. If you order, his roof got destroyed, so if you order an MVP shirt, he will actually personally call you on the phone to thank you for your order.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a big weekend on ProWrestlingTees.com. It's a great site because all the money goes to the wrestlers. It is their direct shop. The company in Chicago that does the shirts, pretty much when you order the shirt, they take the screen print and press the shirt out. So it's not like they have to order 1,000 shirts and hope to sell them all. They pretty much are made to order. So it's actually the best way for wrestlers to earn money. And so if you like to support your indie wrestlers, some wrestlers in the WWE still have ProWrestlingTees.com sites. So that's the best way if you want to support your actual particular wrestler. And this week, Hurricane Harvey allows you to do some additional good. I've actually had friends that were in the storm. They weren't as affected as anybody else, but thank God. But there were a lot of people affected, and we just heard reports that they could still be doing cleanup and have effects of stuff going on for the next 4 to 5 years. So
yeah, it's gonna be a mess. It's awful down there.
You want to do something good and get something? Hey, go to Pro Wrestling Tees.
Yeah, and so what? One thing that amazes me is how. So, like, let's take Johnny Gargano, for example. Johnny Gargano still has a Pro Wrestling Tees store. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
But WWE just finally put out a Johnny Gargano T-shirt. I wonder how much longer before this store is allowed to stay up.
The Hardys still have a store. If you go on, a lot of the people still have stores. A lot of them will be under their indie name if they had to change. I watched a women's tournament, and I became a fan of this chick named Pipe Nevin, and she is the Viper on the Indies, and so they still have quite a bit of those wrestlers. Like, yeah, definitely hardcore. Like Foley has a store, and they still work with the WWE, so it is separate from the WWE.
Yeah, well, I know when. Because I get the emails from Pro Wrestling Tees about their sales and whatnot. When Adam Cole and reDRagon did their thing at TakeOver, the next day, an email came out saying, "Hey, sale on Adam Cole and reDRagon shirts. Get them before they're gone. They're going to be gone in X number of time because they've all signed with WWE."
Yeah, I guess when they do buy the licenses, they probably have to take it off ProWrestlingTees.com, especially if they get to keep their name.
Yeah,
it's when you switch names that you get to actually keep your Pro Wrestling Tees store.
Which makes sense, and it also makes sense that the people who are legends under legends contracts, can keep their Pro Wrestling Tees store, because that is. So different. The Legends contracts are just so drastically different than regular contracts.
Another good piece of news, Ric Flair sent out a video yesterday where he was wearing a "I'm not dead yet" motherfucker shirt, and just saying he is in good spirits and you will see him soon. I don't do plugs a lot, I really don't, but if you want to support the Nature Boy, he has his own store, RicFlairShop.com. Go buy a shirt. He, from what I understand, he lives a very extravagant lifestyle. So, unfortunately, he probably doesn't have a bit of a nest egg for all these hospital bills that he has going on. So, if you want to support the Nate, go buy a shirt that way. His are a little more expensive. They're like $35 a shirt. Premium from Ric Flair. Generally, he runs deals where he'll send you out a tweet thanking you. He'll send you a video message thanking you. He'll call you. He does all sorts of stuff like that.
Wow, that's awesome. All right.
So, it's just like, you got to support wrestlers, even after they retire, because, unfortunately, there's only a certain shelf life. And again, I was going to talk about supporting indie wrestling because it'll transition into a big announcement, a huge, giant announcement. And for the people that are listening to us for the first time, we appreciate you giving it a chance. I hope you enjoyed the show. We did go off a little bit on other things. We do talk about other things other than wrestling, our personal lives. We are human, and sometimes Sometimes Dave doesn't get to watch the shows. Sometimes we just, we want to let you know a little bit into our lives, what kind of TV shows we like. Me traveling to watch my team play. You're going to get a lot of that on Around the Ring, and I'm just kind of breaking that down for you because we do recap the main shows of the week. We do pay-per-views. We do top fives. We do the Hall of Fame for Around the Ring. We haven't had an entry in a while, but it's an exclusive group, so you got to deserve it to get in. So, but that being said, it's just we have joy. We enjoy this. We want to interact with fans. So to try to get more ears on the show, me and Dave have come up with a contest to support local wrestling. So if you're in the Oklahoma, Texas area or willing to drive to the Oklahoma and Texas area in October, on October 7th, the IWR, the Imperial Wrestling Revolution, our local wrestling promotion run by our friend Jerry the Boss Bostic, is doing their big event of the year. It's called Oklamania. And before Oklamania, there's Oklacon. So Oklacon runs from 9 to 4 on Saturday, and this year they've announced a few guests. It's going to be Sting, Les Luger, Sunny's going to be in the building, shows up. She has an unfortunate tendency to no-show. Sunny's going to be in the building. We are going to have Kevin Von Erich, definitely local for wrestling fame, is going to be there. And then they're going to have an Oklamania show that night. It starts at 7. The reason we're telling you about this is because Around the Ring is decided to give away 2 VIP tickets to Oklamania, also 2 tickets to Oklacon. I want to be very clear. The tickets get you into Oklacon. To get the autographs and the pictures, you have to pay the wrestlers individually once you get in. I just want to say that because I don't want you to get in and start thinking you're going to start paying for every autograph and picture you want. We are a small wrestling podcast who both just work regular jobs. So, we can't do that.
Yeah, I'm here.
That being said, we can't do that. So it is 2 VIP tickets to Oklamania. You will be sitting next to me and Silky Dave Brown. You'll get to know us a little bit. I'm a bit of a talker, so I'm going to try to find out a little bit about you. Oklacon, like I said, you'll be there at the show. You'll get, all the wrestlers will be there. It's generally less crowded. Apparently there's going to be some OU football player legends and all sorts of things. And, bring a little money if you want to get autographs and pictures, because on a per basis. And if you buy the pictures and things ahead of time, you can get discounts on it. So it's going to be a pretty easy way to enter. We're going to, on our page, Around the Ring on Facebook, that's where we're going to do everything because it's just easier to keep track in one place. We're going to put up the post from the day announcing the contest. On that, we need you to like that post. We need to comment on that post who your favorite wrestler is of all time. And then we would like you to share that post to your page. Once you do that, that is 1 entry, pretty much 1 entry per person. We're going to try to make this as fair as possible. So again, you're going to go to the Around the Ring Facebook page.
Which you can at facebook.com/Around the Ring OK.
Yeah, like the page. Then you're going to go to the article. You're going to like you're going to go to the comment. You're going to like the comment. You're going to comment your favorite wrestler, and then you're going to share it to your page. That's 1 entry. 3 weeks from today, on September 24th, so you'll have 2 weeks to get ready for the show. We will draw the name and announce the winner. Everything's above board. It's going to be straight 1 entry. I'll probably, and just so these even more above board, I'm going to just throw all the names into the hat. I'm going to make a little video, and I'm going to post the video to our page of me picking the name out of the hat and reading the name off of there. You get the 2 tickets to VIP, 2 tickets to Oklacon, and pretty much all we ask is that you give our show a shot. That's all we're asking.
That is awesome. We are really looking forward to hitting Oklacon and Oklamania II Electric Boogaloo. It's going to be a great time. It's in Ardmore on, what's the date again? October
7th.
October 7th.
Yeah, you're going to get to meet one of my new favorite indie tag teams, the Young Guns. Hopefully the goal is to, at least in the next week or two, have a couple people that we haven't had on before from Imperial Wrestling Revolution to have you tell them a little bit about the company, as get you a little bit more excited about the show if you haven't heard of it. It's like I said, we just are a small podcast just trying to get people to just give us a shot and see if they like what they have. We definitely want to be fan interactive. We want to get messages. We want to talk and just enjoy it, because we both just really love wrestling and love talking about it. So hopefully you can get the word out there, tell your friends. I know that really doesn't work to your benefit, because the more people know about it, the harder it is to get in the contest. But you know what? Maybe you can talk your friends into it if you tell them about it. You tell them about it and say, well, if you win, I'm your guest that you take. And the more people do that, the higher your chance is to win.
Yes. Yeah, so please.
I think like a heel.
Yeah, yes, you do. So again, just to reiterate, what we need you all to do, head over to facebook.com/AroundTheRingOK. Find the post. I'm going to pin it to the top. Once we're done, we'll find the post that talks about the contest. Like the post. In the comments, put in who your favorite wrestler of all time is. Then share the post to your Facebook wall. Do all that. Your name gets in the hat. In a couple of weeks, Floyd is going to put all those names in a hat. He's going to film himself shaking up the hat, pulling a name out, reading that name, and you will get to join us in a awesome trip to Ardmore to watch the good folks at Imperial Wrestling Revolution put on Oklacon and Oklamania II. It's going to be a great night. It's going to be a great day. We're going to have a lot of fun. So please do that. Help spread the word, because we doing this. We do it for fun, for no other reason. But it would be kind of cool to meet some more folks and to help spread the word of this good show. At least I hope it's good. Hope it doesn't suck. And so please do that and spread the word.
Two good brothers just trying to put on a good show every week. And again, how many times are you going to get the chance to meet Sting? How many times are you going to get a chance to meet Kevin Von Erich? Actually, Kevin Von Erich is a lifelong dream of mine, so I'm going to be able to satisfy that day. I get to meet Lex Luger, who does a lot of good work as far as a faith-based work and getting over rehab and drug. He works with a lot of people, so it'll be an honor to meet him. WWE Hall of Famer Sonny is going to be there. Come on. How many people? I remember in like '96, she was the most downloaded woman on the internet back in the days of dial-up. So you're going to get a lot of shots to meet a lot of people that you love. You're going to get to see a quality wrestling show. Every show I've ever seen from them, I've enjoyed. If you get in, he'll be busy that day. I may be able to introduce you to the boss, Jerry Boston.
Yeah, Jerry's a nice guy. He's a really good worker too. You will enjoy the show. It's going to be really good, and you're going to see people, see these wrestlers who you're going to say to yourself, man, I could see this guy or this gal being big on the indies in a few years. I could see this person someday being in WWE, getting screwed over by Vince McMahon because he has no idea what to do with them. So it's good stuff.
It is good stuff. And like I said, if you decide to do it, I appreciate it. If you listen and you decide not to do it, we still appreciate you listening. This is, like I said, we are just two guys that are friends that love wrestling, and we're talking about wrestling every week, giving our opinions and going off on tangents. Because as much as we might talk about down on the WWE, I absolutely love the WWE. And as much as Dave might talk about the WWE, it's at least his third favorite promotion. So that works out too. But he loves NXT, which is under the WWE umbrella. So hey, we all have our fanhood. We all have it, and we want to hear what you have to say about it, because the whole favorite wrestler thing has always been my favorite thing, because You get a lot of the traditional ones. You get a lot of the Hulk Hogans. You get a lot of the Ric Flairs. But I like when you get that guy that no one's ever heard of, because occasionally I get a Rey Mysterio, and I like to talk to those people too. Hey, what do you like about Rey Mysterio? And, get their opinions of that.
One of my favorite Rey Mysterio matches was that match he challenged Ric Flair for the WCW World Title on Night once, and it seemed kind of random, and man, they had such a good match. It was so freaking good. He didn't win, of course, but he came so close.
Ric Flair is the consummate professional. He is what every heel should strive to be. He can have a good match. He could have a good match with anybody. He could work slow. He could work fast. And the most important thing is he's sold for everybody. When you get heels that don't want to sell, that's kind of retarded to me, because it's just your job is to make the other guy look good. And that is why I will always love heels. That is why I think Dave loves heels, because heels sold out the arena by making other people look good. To me, when I tell you, hey, you should turn heel, that's probably one of the highest compliments I can give you, because that's me saying that you're so good that you can make everyone else look good.
There you go. That is it. So we got anything else we need to talk about this week?
That's it. I'm about to get dressed to make this 12-and-a-half-hour drive back to Oklahoma City. Man, this was so therapeutic. I feel so much better after what happened last night. Just love talking about wrestling so much. It gets my endorphins going. So I thank y'all for listening, because as much as I do this because I enjoy it, as much as I do this so you can hear me, I also do it because it is one of my favorite things. It's what I look forward to doing all week.
Yeah, so don't forget, as we said, hit us up on Facebook, facebook.com/AroundTheRingOK, to find out all those details about the contest and enter. We also have a Twitter. You can follow us at AroundTheRingOK, and you can find us on YouTube, youtube.com/AroundTheRingOK. We have some plans I'm planning on going back deep into the archives of Around the Ring and posting old episodes for everyone to laugh at, because there was some really bad podcasting going on back in the day, because a lot of that stuff just isn't anywhere to find. And I think it would be cool because we have limited bandwidth that we can store stuff on our servers, so putting that up on YouTube at some point. And so yeah, that's going to do it for this week. Floyd, it's that time.
All right, so what this week has taught me, even more than everything, this makes what I'm about to say even more relevant. Just remember, in this world, life is a work. Don't forget to kick out at 2. We'll see you next time around the ring.
Hear the drummer get wicked.